Number 1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. Hey, I have to shorten that applause. I'm so used to it now, though. I'm so used to it now. Gentlemen, how are you doing? What?
I was just saying, you got to leave the intro applause extra long. It's part of the brand now.
It is, yeah, it is. 'Tis is, as my buddy used to say. 'Tis is, and I'm like, no, Kenny,
I'm just
that's
gonna
not.
pretend like it was for me.
Oh no, it is. That's the whole point. Hold on. Yes, little one. Okay, well, let mommy know when she gets home. Sorry, we have the one that doesn't feel so great right now.
Feel better, little dude, or dudette.
Yep. And actually, so at the top of the show, guys, I do not want any of you to forget this. Chat, this is your job tonight, and this is actually a very serious job. For all of you out there who know the absolutely wonderful R.H. Snow, there was an accident in her family, and I want everybody in the chat to remember and to post this throughout the show, to offer up prayers and thoughts for R.H. Snow, and some healing, whether prayer is your thing, whether thoughts are your thing. Just offer up some moments of reflection for her husband to heal after a bad accident. He is in the hospital right now, and I want to let everybody know that. I want our community to don't bombard her with messages, but keep her and her family in your thoughts and your prayers this evening and tomorrow, and look for updates on Twitter. That's where she's updating. And for people who come into the chat tonight, because we may get lost in the conversation, if you guys would remind other people as well, and remind me to make sure that we shout that out, because people come and go throughout the evening. So I wanted to make sure that I said that at the top of the show before I even say hello to the chat. So with that being said, thank you all so much for that, and I know she will appreciate it. And let's say hello to the chat this evening. I do still have it on top chat, so I do apologize. It's not on live chat yet because I didn't want to erase messages that are coming in. We've got over on the Rumble side, we have Lieutenant Bob, also known as King Bob. King Bob is over there. over on the Rumble side. And guys, never forget that if YouTube is not quite your speed, if YouTube tends to block some of the things that you say simply because YouTube is weird and sometimes YouTube blocks things that shouldn't be blocked, absolutely go over to Rumble, and you can jump in on the live chat over there and you can chat to your heart's desire. We also do have a live chat over on adrinkwithcrazy.locals.com where you guys can actually share memes, and I will see those memes and I will be able to pull those memes up. So if you guys actually want to share pictures and stuff, you do have to become a member over there. We also have Little Andian that just joined the Rumble chat as well. Trippy Soul over here on the YouTube side. We have the Quaff. Hail the Quaff and Shotgun Samurai. He has been doing some fantastic work. Mr. John A. Douglas for $1.99 over on YouTube says, hail Royce, hail the Iron Age, hail the Black Crown. Which one's the Black Crown?
That's his work. He's going to put out soon.
That's awesome. How do I not know these things? Everly Music is down there as well. 10Cage, hello. We've got Swift Sword Rush. We've got Oxen W. Skunk's Workshop, hello. How are you? Guilty Gearhead. Herman P. Hunter. We have Hojo down in the chat. Brian McCoppin. James Craig, hello. How are you doing? Jose Hernandez spreading that horrible thing that Kikomon started. Kikomon starting a cult. I don't know what's happening with that. It's strange. Isopropyl 24. He's just here for the music. Well, hey, dude, at least you were here. Stay Based is down there as well. Stay Based, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while, man. It's absolutely fantastic. Also, Brian McCoffin just gifted 5 A Drink with Crazy memberships. Thank you so much, Brian.
Nice.
For that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Go. Good Lord. TSBOL is down in the chat as well. We have the Illithid. What is going on? Oh, good God. It just jumped. The chat. Shut up for a minute so I can catch up. Okay, chat. just for a minute. Chris M. Hello. How are you? We've got. Oh God. Wait. Nope. Because it's telling me who was gifted the A Drink with Crazy membership. Anthony Rondinelli, Samwise is down there as well. Hello. How is everybody doing on this fantastic Friday evening? I hope all of you are doing absolutely awesome. I hope you all had a fantastic week. Kikomon for $2 says, "Show me, show you." Kikomon is Michael Queenie? Question. What the?
What's a queenie?
I don't know.
How many drinks have you had, Kikomon?
I don't know. Kikomon might already be hitting it hard. Kikomon, I'm so confused.
Yeah, I can't even think of what that should be. I don't know.
I don't. Even Trippy Soul's going, what the fuck? All right. Oh, good Lord. And so, guys, I think I have finally figured out how to do the super chat thing. Up until we get to our fantastic guest this evening, I will read super chats in between, asking my co-hosts how their weeks have been and getting to our guest. Once I turn it over to our guest, though, we're going to pause reading super chats for quite a while, unless they are relevant to the conversation, possibly, if I see them. And also if I feel like breaking the flow of the conversation. But as of right now, if you guys super chat right now, I will read them at the top of the show. But once we get to our fantastic guest this week, we're going to put the super chat reading on pause and let our guest introduce himself to you so you guys can fall in love with your next favorite author. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who is hammering it out with Anvil, the Iron Age magazine, the guy that I call my co-host and I so affectionately call Mr. King Richard. How are you doing, good sir?
Doing well. It's been a good week.
Good.
I had the opportunity to interview Razor Fist and Georgia Alexopoulos for the Ghost of the Badlands.
Saw that.
And then I turned it around in about 24 hours with the help of my wife doing some transcription and whatnot. And for the most part, it was a good content-wise. It was a great interview with them. But the audio quality, I like, at one point in time, I was trying to find a filter to get rid of some of the background noise. and I was like, "What does large room do?" And I thought
no.
it would like eliminate the noise. No, it made it super echoey. Right?
No,
And
that's a
so
reverb setting.
it does the exact opposite of what I
Mhm.
thought it would do.
Mhm.
And I was like, "This is awful," and I got rid of it. So I
what
thought-
you're looking for is EQ and compression.
Yes,
Can do a little bit of that.
I figured out some of that, but anyway, needless to say, there's an Easter egg in that interview where Echo Fist makes an appearance for a brief period of time.
Oh,
But anyway,
Yeah,
it
but
was.
voice
that's
worse
what the
than
Echo
Echo.
Fist thing
Yep.
was.
yeah. It's pretty funny. So anyway, if you haven't checked it out, you should check it out for
It
the
is funny.
content because it's a good interview. But
If you
want a
ever
good
need
laugh, that's
help
also
with
there, too.
any of that, literally just message me and just screenshot the software, the options that you have, and I can kind of guide you through it.
I will probably take advantage of that in the future. Just it was like midnight, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's dude.
This is
man.
what happens when we all work too hard.
yes, precisely.
The 1 day turnaround is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was like, I knew I wanted to get it out by Thursday, and I was like, oh boy. So it is what it is.
well,
But
that's
anyway,
why recorded interviews are hard, especially if you have to chop anything or cut anything or shorten it down at all. Like that's rough. It's rough doing that, and then getting seamless transitions in there. Those are also.
Anyway, regardless, so that was good, and then Anvil is still cruising right along. On Monday, we're going to start accepting submissions for the second issue.
100 backers, guys. 5.
No, not yet. Not yet. 435. We're
Damn
aiming.
it, I wanted it to be 5. Somebody said 5.
There was 500. I got 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty cool.
Oh, hey, yeah.
That's
So
That one.
there we go. That's probably where you sell the 500. But
That is
but yeah,
where I
we're
sell
sitting
the
at
500.
435, which is fantastic. And yeah. So
noise
it's been a good
gates
week.
can also help, but if you screw up a noise gate, sorry, the chat's just like, sorry.
Chat
The
advice
chat-
time.
Yeah, it's chat's invite. No, sorry, Richard, I apologize.
Oh, that's all. I was gonna say that's pretty much been my week. So
Good deal.
I'll pass the mic to Mr. Riley over there.
Yeah, Mr. Daniel P. Riley, good sir. How has your week been?
It's had its ups and downs, but
I know those weeks. I
I
know
got a
those
full
weeks.
night's sleep, so I'm feeling better.
Attaboy.
I've been putting some work in on one of my Legacy Hero short stories, so that should be almost finished. The super secret projects are all starting to come in all at once, so next week I should have some cool announcements. But yeah, otherwise we're just rolling along. I'm getting everything ready for a kind of a swag bag set crowdfund sort of thing for G's and I 2 paperbacks.
Richard, how long is Anvil still live for?
The campaign closes on Monday, but I'm
Yeah,
going to have it
yeah.
on in demand for another probably another 2 weeks, just because of the way that Indiegogo handles funding. If I want to go to a printer and get the process started, then I got to have the cash, and then there's like this delay. So we're going to have to roll it into in demand, but it'll be open for at least a little bit longer after that.
All right.
So.
I am texting my wife because we still haven't backed it because, well, my money goes into my 4 children.
Like I
and
said,
now chickens.
I'll get you a copy
No,
regardless.
it's not
so.
about
I know,
that.
I know.
I want to support
And I'll
you.
always sell one to you directly. I'm always up for direct sales. So.
Okay, you could have told me that.
You guys have to meet behind the Cracker Barrel, and Richard's
No,
gonna have to open his chest up and go, Hey, you want a magazine?
No, I am not doing that. The memes have already been terrible the last 2 weeks. We're not doing it.
Make it so, Chad.
It would be a Popeyes, not a Cracker Barrel. Not a Cracker
Well,
Barrel.
Richard always.
Not
I'm not- I don't think
Popeyes.
I'm brave
not
enough to go
that
behind
low
a-
class.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm not brave enough to go behind a Popeyes.
Oh my God,
here,
that's no.
That's where the
Good
fun's at.
Lord. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
Cracker Barrel.
Don't get me wrong, I like Popeyes, but
oh, I don't even like. Oh fuck.
If you're gonna
think that
do
kills
back
the host
alley
already.
deals, you have to do them with at least a little bit of decorum. Hence
Oh,
the Cracker
God.
Barrel.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel is a classy establishment for
Oh God, what
Okay,
is it?
fair
Yeah,
enough, fair
that's
enough.
that's where the
And you can
rednecks
stop
go.
at the gift shop on your way out.
exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, here in China it would be a Deco's. You meet behind the
That
Deco's.
is. Oh God. That's right. And that is actually a decent segue. Oh, by the way, I will say hello to everybody over in the Rumble. We got Chaozu over in Rumble. We got little Andy and John A. Douglas jumped over there for the minute. So thank you guys all for going over to Rumble. Rumble has been doing extremely well lately. And in fact,
It's because Rumble is the place to be.
the viewership on the Rumble lives, not videos. YouTube still has like my daily video uploads that I'm doing. YouTube still has the viewership there. But the Rumble live streams are absolutely beating the YouTube live streams right now, which is fantastic. So thank you to everybody over on Rumble. And I believe it is time to introduce everybody to our absolutely fantastic guest, a man who is no stranger to this channel and a man whose projects we've covered a few times on the channel through the supporter live stream nights. I think I've may or may not have covered one of your books in my solo stream before I turned Wednesdays into the supporter live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Michael Harris. How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. A little
Good.
bit tired, but pretty good.
Yeah, you had to wake up. Well, you messaged me like 3 or 4 hours ago, and I was like, why is he awake right now? It's his Saturday. Like it's like I literally did the math in my head, and I was like, wait, it's like 5 o'clock his time.
I got a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah,
was
never
like,
mind.
I got
get
a
you.
newborn. I should get up anyway, so why not?
Infant alarm clock.
And then I messaged you, and I completely forgot what I wanted to ask, and I still can't remember it.
Well, welcome to my
Also
life.
a byproduct of being a parent.
Yes,
Pretty much.
it's really great when you have 4 kids and you have to yell at one of them, and you just cycle through all of the names until you get to the right one.
Dude,
Mhm.
I'm one of 6 kids. I know that.
Oh, you know, I'm one of 5.
Yeah.
First
was
of
just
my
like,
mom would be like,
boys.
No. And then you're always like, it's always the second time around they find your name.
yeah, I know. My mom would be like, Gabe, I mean, I'm not even a girl, Mom. And she, you know who I'm yelling at. I'm like, I know who you're yelling at, but like, can you get my name right?
Mhm.
You totally
Usually
get
when
it.
the yelling started, I disappeared. Because
Oh,
I'm
man.
the middle child, so I had like 2 older brothers who were really obstinate, and they would always fight with the parents whenever they got in trouble. And I was like, oh, that's dumb. And I just watched them. And whenever my parents got angry, I was like, oh, they'll calm down in like 20 minutes, so I'll just take a walk. Worked pretty well.
I got a little brazen with my problem is I like, never mind. We're not going to get into that. Those are family stories. Family stories are fun, but I won't get into some of mine. But no, sir. Well, you are definitely no stranger to the channel, and I have been trying to schedule this with you for a while, because I know that you're like, hey, dude, I'd love to be on Iron Age Nights, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And the issue is that Richard, Daniel, and I suck at scheduling guests. We are utterly terrible at it all of the time. And
That's because our weekly meeting happens every 3 months.
Yes. Yeah, we do our weekly meeting every 3 months. It's really fantastic.
And that might be a little bit generous even.
When was our last one? I think our last one was shortly after
January.
New Year's.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was January.
It was January.
That's almost
So-
3 months.
I know, and it's and the thing is I have even said to these guys, I'm like, guys, we got to get Michael Harris on. And they're like, oh yeah, no, we totally got to get Michael Harris on. And then what usually happens is somebody would reach out to us with like a project they're dropping that week or something like that. And we would go, and the conversation goes thusly. Hey, would you like to have this person on? Yeah, sure, schedule them. Sweet. And we just completely blank on everything. And I do apologize for making you wait this long. I'm so
No
sorry.
problem.
Oh, man.
Or you do like I do, and I say, oh yeah, and then you schedule them for the wrong day. But in my case,
Yeah.
it worked out to be the right day. So, hey.
Yeah.
I lucked out there.
There you go. Oh my God, that's right. Yeah. So that actually happened. That was last week, right? No.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, guys, we're here.
I do very
Michael,
little
Stream, Richard,
scheduler.
No, I think it was. No, it was. Was it Immortal Comics, right? Or Immortal Rising Comics, or was it Hojo?
It was Hojo.
It was Hojo, yeah. So Richard actually scheduled the wrong day, but it turns out that day was actually like the right day and the correct day to work.
Yeah, he wanted to come on today.
He told us the wrong day, told Hojo the wrong day, and then it was, and like he thought he scheduled a different day, but it worked out.
It worked out, yeah.
Happy accident.
Can't mess with success, right?
No.
I just show up, drink, and talk. I don't do the schedule.
Thank God.
So got the cushy job, literally with that chair.
I know. So Michael, I got a little bit off the rails, and I do apologize, but do me a favor and just introduce yourself, and tell us how you got into writing, what's inspiring you to write the stories that you are today, and give some background on you and you as a person, and kind of give us the cliff notes of your life, as it were.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Okay, let's see. Where should I start? Should I start with the books or the cliff notes of my life then into the books?
I
so
think
at
you
one
should
point, Michael's parents met.
No. I think you should start with the unique quality that you have that most people don't, so that the context behind your stories really hits home.
Huh. Okay, yeah. So I have this thing called aphantasia. Basically, that means your imagination is blind. When somebody says imagine something, it's just basically blackness.
Oh,
and
interesting.
You hear, like, some people have that, but they still have like the inner monologue.
Mm-hmm.
I basically have silence. So I just have a mind that's pretty much quiet most of the time.
Interesting.
So anyway, I think I got that from getting hit a lot. not like abuse, but I love doing martial arts and stuff.
Okay.
And I've gotten a couple concussions. One of the craziest times getting a concussion was when I was holding a baby and I fell down. The baby was fine. I did like a tuck and roll, just like I did turn into a ball, and I did like almost like a roll, almost a full somersault roll, but my head hit like a really hard rubber tire. And yeah, the baby was fine. Didn't even cry until I got up and put them back in their crib.
Oh, good Lord.
You tried to do the
thank God,
Sonic the
though.
Hedgehog.
But 10K down in the chat says that instinct roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
That is.
Yeah, that was kind of terrifying because it wasn't, well, I just had my firstborn, so it wasn't my baby even. It was just one of those, holy crap, this fence wasn't in right, and then just roll and then boom. But I'm glad the baby was fine. They were happy. They just thought it was a fun little trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite
It turns
literally.
out, oh my goodness, Lord. So so that's interesting.
I told you.
Okay, so because I can't, and it is hard because my head is, and my mind is, it constantly sounds like New York City, right? It's why I don't get a good night's sleep.
That sounds like it would be a pain in the butt.
It is.
It can be exhausting, yes.
Yeah, no, my mind is constantly like New York City. So much so to the point where one of like the things that I've like, and I've always done it, I actually talk out loud to myself. I'll have like full conversations with myself because I have so much noise in. It's just, okay, we don't need to start, okay? But I've got so much noise in my head constantly that that I like getting it out into the world whether writing it down, like especially when I like write, and I need to force myself to get back into guitar and music. But when I would do that, like it helps me to get all that stuff out and get that angst out. I have had a time in my life where everything was peaceful in my mind, but I haven't lived a large chunk of my life like that. And so it's interesting to meet someone who kind of lives the opposite way in their mind that I do, where mine's constant noise, constant chaos, constant going. And obviously I think it's advantageous to me. It makes me good with words, also makes it hard to sleep. How is it for you? What are the benefits and the drawbacks? Do you have benefits and drawbacks? Have you thought about that? Do you think about things like that often or no?
Yes and no. I mean, because for me, most of the time, most of my thinking is subconscious. Like I'll have just stretches where I'm literally just doing nothing. My brain's just like, you, and just kind of silence. But you ask me about something and I'll give you like a really full, like a really, how do you say that? Sorry, sometimes my English, I forget some of the English stuff because I've lived in China so long. But like I'll give you like a really well-rounded answer because my subconscious has been stewing on it for a long time, but my conscious mind is just like, okay, let's just kind of do nothing. And it's kind of funny because like I said before the show, I have 5 other siblings. So like 2 of them, they're just like they describe their minds like you. They're like, I can't even imagine just having my mind be quiet all of the time. And me and another brother, we both have aphantasia, and we're like, we can't imagine having all that noise in our minds. It just sounds like a hassle.
I will say this. I don't have, and I won't go into that time period in my life, but there was a time period in my life when my mind was quiet. And it was one of the best, probably 2 weeks of my life. And and I won't go into it, but I don't have to imagine what it's like. But I don't think that my mind was quiet like yours. I think that my mind was my version of quiet, if that makes sense. But I can definitely understand, but I don't know what it would be like to live with that long term, and that's just really cool. So how is it that you have a quiet mind like that, but you're able to put the pen to the paper and get those ideas? Because I would like, if you have, because I would imagine a lot of writers have like this idea, they have an imagination about it, and they kind of go forward with that. How does that work with you?
So for me, like, I think, how should I describe it? Like, basically, like I said before, it's mostly subconscious, but I grew up telling a lot of stories. I would tell like my younger brothers, I would tell them bedtime stories for like almost 10 years. And so just when I get an idea, I'll just kind of get the skeleton of an idea. And then sometimes I'll try and plan it out and plot it. And then I pretty much abandon that after a day or two because I'm just like, such a pain in the butt doing that. I'm just going to write. And then I just pretty much write it. And it's kind of like the story is almost telling itself. So I don't know exactly how to explain it, but as I'm writing, I'm just like, oh, this is what this character would do because of their personality is like this. And you ask me, you know, what's your character's favorite dish or something like that? I'll be like, I have no clue. If it's not on the page, I don't know it. But I know instinctually what should be on the page, if that makes sense, because it's what goes well with the story.
So is it safe to say that you're a discovery writer?
I'm not sure what that is, but
well, it's kind of like it's a nicer way of saying pantser, as in you don't necessarily do a lot of outlining.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael and I did an interview a long time ago, actually, for his Echoes of Memory. I did a review video of that, and him and I sat down and talked. And after that, actually a couple of days after that, I came to the conclusion that the best way to describe the way he writes is stream of consciousness.
Yeah,
basically, you sit down and just run through everything that's happening point to point to point to point to point in the scenes that you're working on at the time. You don't worry about what's coming next. You don't worry about what you did before. It's just what's happening right now as you're writing it out on the page.
That's better than I could say it.
That's really cool, because I know the feeling of doing that. But again, outside of that one time period in my life, I can't do that all that, because I'm so bad that I'll be talking with my wife and I will stop halfway through a sentence, and like my mind will finish what I'm saying, but my mouth will shut up, and I'll just stop. And I don't even know where I stop, but I will stop. And then in my mind, I have finished the conversation. I finished what I have said, and I'm waiting for an answer, and it happens really fast. And my wife is just sitting there going, and I'm like, and what? And she goes, well, you just kind of trailed off. I'm like, no, I didn't. She goes, yes, you I could not imagine just sitting down, putting the pen to the paper, and just as the words flow, putting that out on paper. That's actually really cool. That I love learning about. I love learning about people and the different ways that people work. Like that just, I'm already happy with this interview. I'm good.
Yeah. For me, it's like I have a hard time imagining people. Like, I know some writers, and they'll write out of sequence. They'll just like write one scene, and then they'll write another scene, and then they'll write the end of the book, and then they'll go back and write the start. I'm like, how could you possibly do that? Like, how could your brain go like bounce around like a bouncy ball, like pew 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 pew? It just seems like that's the one for me. I can't even imagine.
I like bullet points personally. I like to know where I'm going to start. I like to bullet point where I'm going to end, and I want to have something in the middle, and then everything else in like the middle of that is like freeform, right? Mm-hmm. But I at least want to kind of know the dots that I need to kind of connect to.
Yep.
To make the story cohesive. And I think, and for me, and I actually structure videos that way. You know, usually when I make a good pointed video, that's usually how I'm like, how am I going to start? Where's my ending point? And usually I know my point before I even do the video. And that's my ending, right? That's the whole thing that I want to get to. And then I kind of sit there and I'll actually come up with my middle point. That for me, the start is the hardest part. How is that for you? What's it like? Obviously, is the start the easiest part for you? Is it as you write more, it gets easier? As you write more, it gets harder? How does all of that work?
Usually, whatever point I'm writing at is the easiest point for me. Except for the blurb, like the back cover blurb, that will always be the hardest.
Blurbs are hard.
There you go.
But yeah, usually like starting works is pretty easy, and I don't know, it's just wherever I'm at is the easiest point for me. It's except for like I kind of do what you do with, you know, the point and the point, like the bullet points. I do that, but probably much less structured than you do. For me, usually I'll just kind of have the overarching idea, and then maybe a kind of idea of the ending, and that's about it. So usually I just have a concept, like my sleeper agent books. I just one day I was like thinking of the term sleeper agent. I was like, that'd be cool if the like sleeper agent sounds like a cool name for a book. I should write that. And I was like, what would a good story with sleeper agent be? And then I was like, what if it's about a dude when he sleeps, he can see through the eyes of people who are awake? And then it just kind of came from there.
We did cover that on a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was, I remember, because Trippy was on that show. Trippy's down in the chat right now. Trippy, back me up. You were on that show. That was such an interesting concept. And I think a few people followed you and maybe went to go and back your projects on that. I'm not sure, but what a way to kind of twist the, well, maybe twist isn't, no, twist might be, but what a good twist to put on Sleeper Agent though.
Yeah, I was just like, quite a few of my books, I kind of got the name first, and then I was just like, what's a good story to fit to this name? And Sleeper Agent was definitely one of those. And then I got the idea, like for the first Sleeper Agent, that's how I got the idea. And the second one is, I haven't like told my backstory yet, but I've lived in China for 10 years. So this is like, I'm halfway through my 10th year in China now. Well, almost halfway. But so I started.
Oh, go on. Keep going.
Oh,
sorry.
I was saying, like, before I came to China, I kind of started half-heartedly writing books. And then when I was here, I was just like, you know what? I have extra time, because my job at the time was just weekends during the school year, and then 5 days a week during the school break, because I was an after-school English teacher, basically. And so I was just like, I have all this time on my hand, and I have a book I started, and I should finish it. And I never finished that book, but I started another book, The Echoes of Memory, the one Daniel reviewed. And then I wrote like 3 or 4 more books in between starting that and finishing it. But as I was writing, one day I was like at a little underground church meeting, and I was praying, and God was like, "You're gonna be a writer, dude." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yep." And I was like, "Cool." So
I know how that, I know that feeling.
Yeah, it was one of the few times like I heard God speaking super clearly. But that's so awesome. I just started writing, and then I totally forgot what the point of what I was saying was. Sorry about that. Let me see.
Welcome to Iron Age Nights, where we forget constantly.
Perfect.
Like, do not apologize. And that's what I will say to people. Never apologize on this show. It makes you sound Canadian. And I am enough Canadian for the chat.
All right. Screw you mother. Just kidding.
Right. Hey, dude, I'm a construction worker, man. I'm used to it.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying with that is I started writing, and then, I remember what I was going to say. Yeah. I started writing Echoes of Memory. Then I started writing a couple books in between. And the Sleeper Agent was the first one I finished. But then the second Sleeper Agent book, I was talking, I have some friends who were, oh crap, dang it. I promised myself I wasn't going to forget this word. Foreign exchange students. I've been like interviewed twice, 2 or 3 times. Every time I forget the English word for foreign exchange student. I only have the Chinese word for it in my mind.
What's that?
What is the Chinese word?
Liu Shuisheng.
Okay.
So like, I was like, I need to remember it today. I'm not going to forget again.
Write it on your hand and marker.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good idea. That's such a great idea. No, just, I'm going to start writing down words that I commonly forget now and just be like, nope, that one.
Eventually, Royce is going to have them all over his arm. Like,
he's going to be like the dude from Memento.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, with that, I had had some friends who were foreign exchange students from Kazakhstan. So the second sleeper agent book, I had read about this weird sickness that in this tiny city in Kazakhstan, people were falling asleep for like just falling into comas randomly for months at a time. And suddenly somebody would be doing something, then they would fall asleep and people were freaking out. So I was reading about that, and then I have some friends who are Kazakh exchange students, and they were telling me a bunch of secret Soviet missions that had happened in Kazakhstan. So I was able to tie that into the second book because I was like, dude, that's too cool to pass up.
That's really cool. Really quickly, these ones I do have to read because they disappear because StreamYard won't let me save them. But the Ultimate Kahuna says, I'm back, mother pluckers. Hail the Iron Age.
What's up, Kahuna?
Thank you so much. Yeah, he's a member for 1 month over on the YouTube channel. And I, again, those member chats, they disappear in the ether and I don't want to miss them. So I do have to read those as they come up. So you have been in China for 10 years.
Yep.
Okay, so where do you come from and how do you get to China?
So I come from Colorado. So I know you're a
shout
Colorado
out.
guy too.
Yeah.
Shout
out.
I'm wearing my special Colorado shirt today.
Yeah. Shout out. Shout out
Yep.
to the homies.
Not a fan of how it's being turned into California, but
yeah, that's why I left actually. Yeah, sadly, that's why I left. Yeah,
it's been sad watching it from here in China.
Oof,
but anyway, yeah, I grew up in Colorado. Like, I call myself a Colorado boy. I wasn't born there, but I spent the most of my life there.
Right.
So yeah, I was there for 15, 16 years, something like that. My family's still there. But when I was younger, I was always in love with Asia, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Japan or China, one of those places. And then one Thanksgiving, my parents, they were going on a hike and they met some Chinese foreign exchange students, and they didn't know it was a holiday, and they were like, where is everybody? And so they just invited them to our Thanksgiving dinner. So we just had some random foreign exchange students who were just traveling through, like, on a road trip, and they dropped by for our Thanksgiving dinner.
That's cool.
It was pretty fun. And I started chatting with them, and they were like, oh, you should just come to China. And they kind of gave me some details, and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to go to Asia for a long time, so why keep putting it off? I'm just gonna save up money and go. So I saved up money for a year, and then was like, I'm gonna spend 3 months in China, see how it is, see if I want to stay or not. And then I came, and I think 2 months in or something, basically just got offered a job to teach at an English school here. And after some prayer, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I should be doing. God was like, you keep doing this until I tell you to go. And the last time he told me that, I did the thing for 14 years. So I'll be in China for at least 4 more years, going by the old school.
That's super cool, man.
Yeah. So right now I'm living up in Qinghai, China, which is on the Tibetan plateau. So that's why I'm the Yeti King.
Okay.
I was wondering.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a friend. He would take he's an American dude. He grew up in this area basically. And he would take National Geographic to Everest Base Camp and all that. And so he would always joke about me being a CIA asset who's invested with the Yetis.
Right on.
So I was like, I should totally have that in my name today.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the books, man. We've heard about Sleeper Agent, but your newest one is In the Name of Magic, and before that was Terminal, right?
Yeah. Which one should I talk about first? Name of Magic or Terminal? I'll just do Terminal because, yeah. So like, Terminal is my newest actually published book because Name of Magic is on pre-sale. But that one, it was a couple of years ago now. But one day I was just kind of thinking, I was like, what would be an interesting superpower story? And then I just kind of got the idea, like, what if superpowers killed you? I was like, that's pretty dark. I should do that.
Yeah, it's a unique idea. I mean, it's not unrealistic either if you think about the concept of special abilities. And a lot of comic book nerds go through that phase of, well, how come the Human Torch doesn't die? He sets his whole body on fire, like wouldn't his organs rupture, or this, that, or the other thing. So it's always in the back of every comic nerd's mind that there should be a drawback of some kind. And what makes it fantastical is that most of the time there isn't. But when it is, it hits really well. So when you were talking about doing this, you develop superpowers, and it's almost like you develop superpowers, but also cancer, basically. Yeah. It fundamentally changes your body to the point where it can't sustain itself.
Yeah, basically the powers, like your body can't feed the powers, so they feed off of you. That's kind of the idea in my story.
It was like really wild.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one to write. Like some things, like it was kind of hard to write at points, because you're writing about like a teen who's dying, and like some parts of the story ended up eerily prophetic in my life. So thankfully not having my teen kid die, because I don't have one of those.
Oh God.
You came in at the wrong point.
I was
listening to at least most of that conversation. I was getting updates on the kiddo. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hope they're doing better.
It's been weird the last few days, but that's a sidebar for later. So.
But yeah, with that story, basically
you're talking about books, right?
I know. I was listening to the conversation.
Were you though?
Yes, kind of.
Go on, Michael.
Halfway, little bit.
Why do you have to turn our guests against me? The chat's already against me. Now you got to turn the guests against me. I see.
Because I'm part of the chat most of the time.
Oh yeah, that's true. Why do we keep having chat members as guests?
Because you like punishment
or judgment.
Glutton for punishment.
I like to believe it's because the chat is awesome.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
that's probably better than my answer.
The chat's not awesome. Don't tell the chat that they're not.
You guys are awesome.
Don't listen to him, chat. You're not.
Sorry, guys, you suck. No.
Oh, good Lord. No, sorry, and I was actually listening to a fair amount of that. But yeah, keep going. I apologize for interrupting the fantastic conversation.
No problem. Yeah, so basically the idea behind that story, I just got the idea of like, what if you got superpowers, but your body couldn't handle them, and it basically made you terminal, like it was a terminal disease. And like, first thing that popped into my mind was just like the line, the day I got my superpowers, or when I told my parents I got my superpowers was the hardest day of my life, something like that. And then the story just kind of developed from there. And then this was a little bit harder to write. Like I wrote almost 30,000 words. Then I realized, oh, I'm writing this story like totally wrong. So I rewrote it from the
Oh,
start.
wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, been there,
Really?
done that.
Yeah. It was good, but it was turning more into just like a normal adventure book. And I was like, this isn't quite the vibe I want to go for. I want to go for like more of almost like a memoir of like the kid as he's of the main character Ezra as he's like dealing with learning to live well while he's dying. If that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
I
I
get
very
it.
just can't
heavy
believe that
topic.
you were 30,000 words in and you just decided, well, and you made the decision to kind of rework the story.
It's not
Yeah.
uncommon.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't right. So I just was like, oh well, bye-bye. Time to start again. So, I mean, that's not as bad as the one time my computer crashed and I thought I had auto backup on and like I didn't double check that and I lost 50,000 words and like I lost a
Whoa.
whole 50K draft of the
Oof.
second name of Magic book.
That's rough.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that one sucked, but it ended up being okay because this new draft is better, less meandering, and I'm
Well, that's
about
good.
25K into the new draft. So
Nice. There's those that are, in my laureate group and have known me for the last couple of years may recall that at one point I was talking about a steampunk western. Yeah, I've rewritten that thing 3 times and it's still not right, which is why I never published
I
it.
feel you. Yeah, I have a sci-fi book I'm working on. I'm also 25K into that. I started writing it like 3 different times and it just wasn't right. And
Mhm.
then I realized, oh, this one has to be first person. Then it started going well.
I have cover art. I have advertisement art. I just don't have the draft I want. Is what it is. It's not uncommon for authors to get that far and then go, nope, it's not working.
Yeah. Thankfully for me, that's only happened 1 time. Well, no, 2 times because the sci-fi one.
I've done that with songs actually.
Mhm.
And it's a very very different thing. I mean, obviously not as many words, but I've done that with songs where we've done months of practice as a band. Like, I mean, hours of working on a song. Where it's only, I mean, it's just, I mean, what's a song? A couple hundred words maybe, if it's a long song. And
yeah, but it's not just the words for music; it's the words
it's
and
the melody,
the music,
rhythm.
how I mean, it's a lot. And then you practice it and put a month's worth of practice in with a band,
and it just doesn't work the way you want it to.
Mm-hmm. Nope. And it's one of those things you just kind of look at the other band members, you go, are you guys feeling this song? And they're like, no, not really. I'm like, I haven't really felt this song for the last like 3 weeks. They're like, yeah, we felt the same way. I'm like, why didn't you say anything?
Yeah, there's the only thing that's actually made it in all 3 iterations, and will probably make it into the 4th one if I ever go back to doing it, and it clicks in my head finally, is a chase scene to Black Dog by Led Zeppelin that has stayed in each of the iterations of this book because it's the only thing I feel is right, and I can't get the rest of it to fit well. So,
have you tried a perspective shift, like first person to third or something like that?
I tried perspective shift. I've tried a tonal shift where instead of writing it I tried writing it as a sci-fi with a Western vibe as opposed to a Western with a steampunk aesthetic, which was my original version. That didn't work. I tried writing it as a crazy team action story because of that scene with the song that I wrote out and really loved. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to lean into this madcap band of misfit, soldiers being outlaws and see what happens. And nope, it's just not working.
Yeah.
I'll get
Maybe
there
just
eventually.
abandon it and come back to it later.
That's what I do. Yeah, I've like all 3 versions, 35,000, 40,000, and I think 28-ish. Each version, yeah, they're still on my computer. I go back and read them and go, "Is this going to work?" And I'm like, "No," and I leave it alone.
Okay, so I've done again with the music thing, and I have seriously asked myself this question, and I wonder if the writers in the room, and actually, and not even just the writers in the room, Richard, I'm sure that you've done this. Have you ever gotten into a project and you've been writing something or working on something, and no matter how many times you try it, you just sit down and you think, okay, I don't have the proper knowledge or life experience to properly conceptualize this thing the way that I want to. Because I have had that before where I'm just like, I, as me here, when I started this thing, didn't have it. I didn't have it my second try. I didn't have it my third try. Whatever this story needs that I want to tell, I don't have. Is that a thing? Do you guys run into that?
Oh yeah.
I have that with one project I'm planning. I know like it requires a butt ton of world building, and I'm not quite at that point yet. I'm like, I need to develop other stories more so I can get to the point where I can get the world building really easily. Because, with me being like the more stream of consciousness writer, this one I actually have to like plan out like a literal crap ton of stuff for the magic system.
So you have reference points.
Yeah.
Oh,
basically,
wow.
this idea is, I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't want anybody to steal it. But basically, the idea is different foods give you different magical abilities.
Neat.
And so, like chefs are literal wizards. And
that's awesome.
Funny.
Magic gourmand, love it.
I'm down. As long as you make one of your characters a parody off of Gordon Ramsay.
Well, this one's going to be a little bit darker. It'll be a little more like the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, kind of that vibe.
All right.
So,
I've heard of Brandon Sanderson, but I don't know those books.
I've
basically,
read Mistborn.
like in the story I'm planning, the general idea is like there's this tiny little nation and they're like super oppressed. If you what's it called when you do like the illegal hunting? It's poaching. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're like poaching, you can get penalized by death and whatnot, and everybody is just basically slaving away on farms, but they can't eat anything like any of that. Otherwise, they can get like punished by death. Then you find out later there's like this crazy nation like taking over all the other nations, and the dude was like the king was just trying to protect them and store up to fight them.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Right on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mistborn series and that it's I wouldn't necessarily call it like dark fantasy necessarily, but it's definitely a darker world, in general.
Yeah, it's pretty grim.
Sorry to interject here really quickly, but Chaozu over in the Rumble side said that he just bought Sleeper Agent.
Oh,
nice.
So, yeah. He says he'll be right back, but I definitely wanted to let the author know that you might have gotten a fan tonight. So that's
right.
Yeah.
I win,
right? No, absolutely. That's the goal, man. Anytime that I can get an author or to get the chat to send money to the authors, I will.
Hey, chat, give me more money.
Yeah, do that thing, chat. Yeah, do that thing.
To answer Royce's question, though, research is a big part of fiction writing, and it's half experience and half just learning. Like, for as short as G Sedai is, the reason the combat scenes are as fluid and descriptive as they are is not because I watched a bunch of anime. It's because I actually spent hours watching Bushido competitions
Yeah.
and martial arts weapons demonstrations in order to accurately understand how these things move and how the people move with them.
Yeah.
Because
That's like,
absolutely.
and I was a martial artist way back in the day, but that was 20 some years ago, so it's in my mind, but it's
don't
all
speak
rusty.
in decades, good sir. I hate when people speak in decades.
I'm old. I fully admit it. It's fine. But so I did this kind of the same thing with that steampunk western. I was trying to like not just watch old cowboy movies, which are awesome, but watch gun competitions, quick draw competitions, and really understand the mechanics of what a shootout would look like. What?
That's I was going to respond in chat, but I'm just going to say that's
here you
a
go,
little bit of a
Jose.
concerning
I'll bear my
lesson.
biceps.
There we go.
Chat. Don't be dirty.
It's
Is
chat.
tempting
This is
enough
what
for you, Jose?
This is why I tell you never compliment the chat. They don't deserve it. Don't do it. So Trippy Soul's so pasty. Yeah.
Well, if you go with if you go with Asian concepts of modesty, I guess maybe if you show your ankle, it would be considered.
No, we're not doing feet on this stream. I will kill the fucking stream if I see a foot. I swear to everything that is holy.
Michael gets what
I
I'm
see
talking
feet
about.
on my
barefoot right
stream.
now
The
too,
stream goes dark. What happened to Iron Age Nights? Well, Royce blew up his computer. Why? He had to cleanse it.
It's just that Ron Swanson meme, Royce throwing his computer into the dumpster. Like, nope, never again. We're done.
It's over. It's done.
The thing
Drinking
though
Crazy
with
was
the
good while it
Asian
lasted.
not modesty, but like a lot of them are jealous of my skin because like it's the opposite of America. They all want to be light skinned, and so people they're like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You're so pasty." And I'm like, in America we all want to be dark. But it finally works in my favor being like so Irish.
Yes.
Right? There you go.
And they like to eat potatoes where I'm from in China, so
oh, that's funny.
they have really good potato dishes.
Interesting. I was going to ask just to kind of bring it around to the Name of Magic, which is it's still in pre-order, correct? It's not out. Okay. So that, am I correct in understanding based on what I read of it? It's set in, kind of a mythical Chinese society. So, obviously you drew from some of your experiences while you were living there. What made you decide to go that route and kind of, it seems like you're sort of shifting gears from some of your previous books with this one, just based on the title.
So that one because I've lived here and like where I live in China right now, I'm in Yunnan province where my wife is from. I came down here to be with her, have the baby, but we live up in Qinghai province, which it's funny because even most people in China don't even know about Qinghai. Like I've been outside of Qinghai and I talk to them and they're like, "Where do you live in China?" I'm like, "Qinghai." And they're like, "Oh, Qingdao, that's such a beautiful place." I'm like, "No, there's a place called Qinghai. Have you heard of it?" And they're like, "No, what's that?" I'm like, "It's the third biggest province in the whole country."
Oh, God.
But it's basically the Montana of China. There's
I was going to say,
way
I'm assuming
more
it's
sheep and yaks than there are people.
Yeah, not very industrial by comparison.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like, I live in the capital city, and everybody's like, "It's so small, it's so backwards." It has about 2.5 million people.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, "It's so backwards, it's so small," but it's a city of 2 million people.
Yeah. Well, that just goes to show. I mean, the the difference in size and just the amount of people in China versus the amount of people in, well, and a lot of people, they think of, states broken down, but I mean, we, 300, 350, almost 400 million people in the US.
Yeah.
It's still pretty sizable. So if you think of, Montana
Yeah.
having multiple million people, like, it's kind of the same thing, but we just break it down state by state.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, with that, like since I live close to, like, where I lived in my city for most of the time in my city, I was right sandwiched between like the Muslim and the Tibetan quarters of the city. And so like I have a bunch of Tibetan friends, like a lot of like Hui minority friends. They're like a Muslim minority in China. A lot of Mongol friends. And so I just was like, oh, I want to do a story that's set in a culture similar to like the Chinese and Tibetan culture. And then I was thinking it would be cool if there was like a story where there's magic, but it's literally coming from one person. And that's where I got the idea for the name of magic. So basically in the story, there's this girl, Jiaoling, and she's like she's one of 5 kids in the story, and she's basically just trying to pay off her dad's debt because he's in prison because he got screwed in a business deal. And so like I think you read it on the supporter live stream. Well, I know you did. But like in the first chapter, she gets her hand chopped off because she was like pointing out a corrupt official was cheating on some game. And so basically like she's doing that, and she made her own prosthetic hand, like her own geared hand, with the help of her brother. And so basically in that story, she ends up stopping a thief, and one of the professors at the Academy of Magic, like the Royal Academy of Magic, he sees her, and it goes into the backstory later. But basically he was impressed, and he was like, you know what, that was pretty awesome. I saw your metal hand, and it's super impressive. So he was just like, I'm gonna be your patron, and I'm gonna pay for you to go to this academy. And when she's there, she ends up finding the histories of the heavenly mages, who are these mages with super magical powers, but they disappeared 2,000 years ago. Just like one day they were there, one day they, like, all of them across the world disappeared. And basically she has to find out why they disappeared, and she like starts hearing the voice of their most powerful mage in her head.
Interesting.
That sounds interesting.
And it gets her caught up in a conspiracy to unleash an ancient demonic evil, which is why they disappeared, was trying to destroy that demonic evil, and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
I got a sneak peek at it.
Cool.
Oh, well, good for you. You literally get a sneak peek at everything.
Perks of the business,
like,
man.
The motherfucker's like, dude, I got a sneak peek of when the Constitution was written. How? How did you do this?
Guanxi. You got good guanxi.
I don't even know what that means, but yeah, sure. It's
like
everything.
Connections, you know?
Perks of the business.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Michael asked for help, and I was trying to help him format some stuff for the book, and I got to read through it while I was doing it. So I was like, oh, okay. I started just focusing on doing what he asked me to do, but I kept getting drawn to the words, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I ended up just reading it for a couple hours while I was doing it.
All right.
So yeah, sneak peek is real good.
Yeah, I win.
Mm-hmm. I it's real good. Pre-order, seriously.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always like super excited when people like my books because, you know, I'm a small time dude and I want to make it to be a big time dude.
Well, I like Echoes Memory too, obviously, because I reviewed it.
Yeah. All right.
There
But
is,
yeah,
pre-order
with that
now.
book, basically, I just kind of wanted to honor this culture and it's cool culture. So, and you know, I got some influence from Mongolia, some influence from Tibet, some influence from China, and yeah, a couple other minorities here in China. So,
Great pacing, like
As far as that's
combat and drama, real smooth.
interesting. As far as that's concerned, have you felt like, I mean, are there any concerns with what you're writing or anything like that with the government over there? I mean, you know,
I
they're
haven't.
portrayed as very
mm,
invasive on things, on especially on cultural issues. Have you had any concerns or anything that you've been worried runs afoul with like ancestor worship? I know that there's some various things that are fairly selective over there.
Not really. I mean, yes and no, because like here in China, like I haven't sold any of my books on like Amazon CN, which is like the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
site, because you have to go through like the government. They like you have to go through government censors, and it's like a long process, and I just don't want to bother doing that.
Yeah.
So like here in China, what I'll do for people who want to read my books, I don't have the Chinese translation because my speaking is pretty decent, but my reading level still sucks because most of my Chinese I've learned just from like chatting with old guys in the park or
Mm-hmm.
Conversational.
skateboarding with the skaters.
Yeah, conversational.
So yeah, pretty much. I have good conversational Chinese, but my reading and writing sucks. My
It's
wife
a
could
fairly
help me,
common
but
thing.
Yeah, but with that, so I haven't like sold it officially here in China. Like I've sold it unofficially. Like I'll just be like, "Hey, you WeChat me your email address, and you WeChat me some money, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you the copy, like
Yeah.
the ebook." So that's kind of how I've made some sales here in China.
The virtual version of Behind the Cracker Barrel.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Behind the KFC.
No, we're not going
KFC is
behind the
big here in
KFC either.
China.
No, no.
Are they big in China? I knew that they were big
Yeah,
some places overseas.
China is like it was basically the first Western chain allowed in China.
Ah.
So like basically it's one of the few Western fast food places that you'll find almost anywhere in China.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in a city of only like 200,000, there'll be a KFC or two.
Okay. That's
So,
funny.
do they now? Actually want to ask this question because I've heard that depending on the country, they can actually serve different things. Do they actually serve like the fried chicken over there? Is the menu different than it would be in the United States? Because I've always been curious to actually ask that question to someone in real life.
I actually like Chinese KFC a lot better. But the menu is pretty similar. I would say it's like 50-60% similar, and then like 50% like really different. So like you have you have like the fried chicken, all that's normal, and you have the chicken sandwich. But then like the chicken wrap is like a Beijing chicken wrap, and it has like a spicy I think it's black pepper sauce, and they have a bunch of like more Chinese style things. Uh, and some of the KFCs you can even get like Chinese chicken noodle soup and things like that. And
Interesting.
you can get milk tea, boba tea, things like that at the KFCs here in China.
Boba tea makes white women weak in the knees. It is the strangest thing.
Dude, I had a
It's not
boba shop
bad.
for about a year.
Really?
Yep, me and my wife ran one. We're hoping to open again soon, but with the little dude, we're gonna wait till he's a little bit bigger. But yeah, I can make a mean boba. I can make, I mean, like some really good stuff. Like, do you know the matcha tea?
Big
No,
fan
I
of
don't.
Matcha is like a Japanese, like a really strong green tea. It's like a green tea powder.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
like one of my favorite ones we did is called the Yaya Mocha Latte, the coconut matcha latte. So you do like coconut milk and then you put a little bit of matcha latte on it, and it's like super tasty. Then I made a couple like coffee drinks that were my own specialty that people really loved. Like one is, have you ever heard of the Korean Dalgona coffee?
No, that's news to me.
So basically, you take instant coffee and you like take a spoonful of instant coffee, no sugar or anything. Then you take a spoonful of sugar and then like 30, what's the liquid measurement thing? 30 haosheng, like
Ounces,
30
milliliters.
Yeah, those things.
Milliliters, you can do like a quarter cup, a half cup, probably 30 milliliters.
I think it's the milliliters. Yeah. You take like 30 milliliters
Just go
of
with
like hot
spoonfuls.
water, and then you just whip it, and it makes like a froth.
Mhm.
And then you pour it over like iced milk, so it's like an iced milk like cloud latte.
So
Interesting.
There's, I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, there was a coffee that I would make where it was like you make regular coffee and then you put the instant coffee and the sugar together and you whip it, and it becomes this infernal creation of like ultra
That's basically what it
caffeination.
was.
And so yeah, exactly. You whip it good, and yeah, I was drinking those for a little while, and then I was like, I need to stop because I'm gonna like have some kind of heart palpitation or something.
Yeah, basically
Vibrate
it was
into
that
another
idea.
dimension.
Yeah.
It's that idea, almost the same, but
Okay.
like my own special flavor was the rose latte, like that. So you do that, but with rose flavoring.
Interesting. I don't know what
Super
rose
good.
tastes like. I've had rosé, but
Good.
I don't know.
It's very good.
What is rosé?
It's a type of champagne.
Yes.
It's basically it's white girl champagne.
White girl.
For
Now,
me,
under the beard,
I
under the
almost
beard, he's
never-
actually a white girl.
Yeah, I'm just
I
saying
almost never drink
it's good.
alcohol,
I mean,
but
like you
if
can
I drink
you can
alcohol, it has to be girly.
yeah, it's because
or
you can get
super hard.
dangerously inebriated on a half bottle of rosé that some girl doesn't finish off. So
Dude, white girl drinks are scary. Like I've had bottles of whiskey that aren't half as scary as some white girl drinks, man. Oh my, like I don't know how they do it, but like it's terrifying. It's utterly terrifying.
It's just like
It's because
soda
the
that'll get
flavor
you
masks
super
it.
drunk.
Well, and then there's usually like such a high sugar content. My headphones are screwing up. I don't like this. Usually there's such a high sugar content as well. And
So I
that
mean, it's the
sugar
flavor.
mixed with the alcohol,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then just like
Sugar gets it into your system quicker too.
ugh. I don't
Sugar
like
and
that.
electrolytes.
Yeah. For me, I've never been drunk, but the closest I've got to being drunk was here in China, drinking some homemade baijiu. That's like Chinese vodka.
Oh, good lord.
It was homemade
It's like
baijiu served
moonshine,
in a gasoline canister.
Nice.
Oh, the man literally drank booze out of a gasoline canister. If that doesn't make you
Chinese
guys,
moonshine.
if that doesn't make you guys
Yeah.
pre-order his book, I don't know what will.
Yeah, Chinese
That
moonshine.
was the closest I've ever got to being drunk. I had like 2 little teacups full, and literally my face went numb. I was like, okay, I'm not drinking anymore.
Yeah,
Herman-
it's a little Bell's palsy.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Herman P. Hunter. That's
That's what I'm
called
saying,
moonshine.
Herman. Chinese moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
It's Chinese moonshine.
that's there you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, for
Mm.
me, like I drink maybe 1 cup of alcohol a year. So, and that was
you
enough
feel
for that
shame.
year for me.
I drink. Never mind. We're not going into that. the show is titled aptly.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm the basic white girl, like boba and
I mean, you
like
certainly
milk
look the part,
tea.
right?
Yeah.
I
There we go.
think
These
Out-
days, I think maybe you do. Actually, I'm not sure.
right.
I don't want to
Oh
be.
my god, we're not getting into.
Okay,
China,
sorry.
we
Could
call
get into
In China, we call that Dian Xingren.
Oh, good lord.
Change
Oh,
sex person.
oh god, that's great. I love it. Oh man, no,
I'll make sure
that's
to add that to my lexicon there.
I will say this. Although the internet is mostly a horrifying place, exhibit the chat.
Don't be mean to the chat.
I will absolutely be mean to the chat. That's all they deserve. Anyway,
You invite ruin.
I do not. They bring it, and I just don't turn it away for attention reasons. Anyway, one of the things that I've learned is that it seems that somewhat traditional values are kind of universal across the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about governments and things like that, because I hate governments. I hate governments the world over. They all need to go away. But people,
just chaos.
you talk with people, and I used to work in a hotel in Colorado, and the coolest thing was I got to talk with people who were traveling from all over the world, and you got to learn, and I got to learn when I was younger, is that when you talk with, even for like people from the Middle East, people from China, people from Japan, people from Europe, people from, Europe who moved to Japan, just all over, people from just different states, there are universal values that everybody seems to have. And I really like when I get to talk with somebody, especially who's in a different country, and they tell me, they're like, yeah, no, actually people here, they have this term for people who are, changing from one to the other, and it's called this. And I'm like, oh, so people in China, just regular everyday Chinese people, they view it the same way that I do. And I realize that we're not so culturally disconnected. Did you experience that, or have you experienced cultural disconnection and being treated like an outsider, or what has your experience been?
Mostly good with that. I sorry, I got something stuck in my throat.
You're good.
With that, like, I get way more culture shock when I go back to America than like when I came to China. So, but yeah, for the most part, it's people here are super friendly, especially like where I live and kind of here in the city I'm in right now, because there's so few foreigners here. So, like, the main thing you have to worry about is just people, they're like playing on their phone and then snap, just sneakily snapping pictures of you.
Look,
like you're
a
a
white
celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one I hear all the time. I hear, white Warren! Wow, Lawai! Oh, white Warren! So like, foreigner! Wow, look at that foreigner, things like that.
Well,
you hear that all the time, but it's mostly super friendly. Like here in China, most everybody is really friendly, and they'll even if you can only say like one word in Chinese, they'll talk your ears off. You'll be like, ni hao, and you'll say like hello, and they're like, your Chinese is so good. How long have you been living in China? What's your job? How much do you make? Are you married? Do you want me to set you up with my cousin? Like, I can't tell you how many taxi drivers I've had before I got married and before I was dating. They were like, oh, where are you from? Oh, you're from America. Awesome. Are you single? Do you want me to set you up? I have a cousin, or like my cousin has a daughter.
4 sisters,
Yeah.
Take your pick. Have one.
So it's dude, it's pretty funny though. Like I saw somebody.
True.
like a foreigner here in China. He basically had a shirt. It was like, my salary is this much. I'm from this country. No, I'm not single. And it was just like his whole shirt was that in Chinese.
That's funny.
That's funny.
So there's some things like when I go to America and I hear people like, or like I'm on Twitter and I hear people talking like, it's so rude asking people about your salary. I'm like, really? That's like the first thing they ask you as a foreigner here. They're like, oh, where you're from? Oh, what's your salary?
That's funny.
So certain things like that, I have to remind myself when I'm talking to Americans again. I'm like, oh, that's like not normal to Americans.
Yeah, I was always, at least in the professional setting, like with friends and stuff like that, I will, with personal friends and even family, I'll talk about salary and finances. But professionally with like other people, I don't. That's something, the one thing that I was always taught is you don't, at work, you don't talk about, religion, politics, and pay. Right. And that's just how I was raised. And it makes a lot of sense. And I've seen a lot of people get petty when it comes to pay. Well, you get paid this, well, we do the same job. It's like, shut up. But here's the thing. You didn't negotiate that pay.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Here in China, that's like you talk about religion, politics, and pay. Well, not politics, but religion and pay. So like one of the things like where I'm from is there's a lot more minority Chinese there. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways they'll ask you what you believe is they'll just say, oh, what minority are you? So I've had multiple times I'm like, that's awesome. I've had people, at least like 5 or 6 people legit think I was Chinese. But I've had at least like 5 or 6 other people just be like, oh, what minority are you? And they're like, are you like the Muslim minority here in China? Are you like that? I'm like, oh, I'm a Christian. But yeah, it's kind of funny though, because I've definitely been mistaken for Chinese on multiple occasions.
Dang. Wow.
Religions are a type in other parts of the world.
It's here, like really there's a couple minorities that are basically almost exclusively Muslim, or like if you're Tibetan, you're Buddhist in China. If you're Hui or Salar, you're Muslim. So like a lot of them, especially like the Muslims, they'll just be like, oh, what minority are you? Are you a Muslim minority? Or what minority are you? Are you Buddhist? And that's just kind of how they ask what you believe. Mm-hmm. But those are mostly like the older, how do you say, like 50, 60-year-olds, they'll ask like that. The others are just like, so what do you believe?
Well, the older ones probably lived, religion was outlawed in China, wasn't not for several decades?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I know they went through and exterminated a lot of the various religious orders. I'm not sure if like religion itself was outlawed, but
it was never officially outlawed, but you had to do.
Oh, it was functionally. Yeah, it was functionally eradicated.
Functionally outlawed.
Yeah. So they had to develop code.
Yeah, pretty much. We like when you're talking to other people about it, like. For me, if I'm talking to other foreigners about it, I'll use code. If I'm talking to Chinese people, you're okay to talk about it as a foreigner if they bring it up. But it's illegal for you to bring it up to them because they view that as proselytizing.
Oh, so is proselytizing still outlawed?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It like what they say here about China is they say everything you've heard about China is true in some part of China. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much true. So like where I live is closer to Tibet and closer to Xinjiang, which is like where the Uyghurs are, and you might have heard some of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've actually been mistaken for Uyghur a couple times. So like, yeah, that was pretty interesting. But yeah. Anyway, with that, like, with the I've spaced on what I was gonna say. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about how different people will ask what your beliefs are, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. With that, you can't proselytize, but like just here in China, it's just super normal being like, oh, where are you from? What do you believe? What's this?
Mm-hmm.
So I would usually like when with the Chinese people, I won't bring it up, but lots of times they'll ask a question that's related to it. So then
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, and this is this kind of what we believe. This is you know because a lot of them, they don't really know it, so they'll be curious. So I'll answer that, but proselytizing is illegal, and like I lived in China, but I wasn't called here to be a missionary. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just connect with other Christians here, and if people have questions, I'll answer them, and be a brother in Christ. But I'm not here to be a missionary.
Yeah, I understand. Interesting.
No, that's interesting, because sometimes you talk with people, and especially with what you said a minute ago, that with whatever you hear, if whatever you've heard about China is true somewhere in China, usually you talk with people and they go, no, that's a little bit blown out of the water. Or some people say, yeah, that is kind of true. And I've noticed as the internet has gotten bigger, more and more things are like, yeah, no, that's pretty much accurate. But it's interesting to hear somebody say, yeah, no, a lot of that is still a thing, but it's the way that you kind of go about it is different than what you may have heard. So it's interesting to hear.
Yep. I mean, there's still a place here in China. I think it's called Jilin, and they have a dog meat festival each year. So, but then other places in China, they're like, that's barbaric. We need to outlaw that festival. So, I mean,
I'm going to be quiet on this subject. I would piss a lot of people off. I
probably would too. It tastes good.
I view animals as animals. That's just where I'm at. Like, it's, I'm down. Like, I view. I know everybody's like, no, but my Fluffy, and I'm like,
I've had people give me like horse sausage and things like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna refuse it.
The only thing that I disagree with, and I disagree with it here in the U.S., I disagree with it wherever it is, do not mistreat the animals that we are using for food. That is where no. That's where I don't like, and that's why I prefer to buy from smaller local people, because they treat their animals well. They care for them. They give them a merciful death, and the animals are happy and healthy and enjoy life. I do not like mistreatment of animals in any sense of the word. Absolutely not. That being said, I'm kind of that guy that I'm like, animals is animals. Like we use the animals for food, and a lot of people look at me and they're like, what? And all right. Let's get a little controversial here. I've had people look at me, and like online fights, and even in real life, and they're like, well, would you eat your dog? I'm like, okay, if I'm hungry enough and my kids need food, I know how to dress out an animal. Yep. And I have big dogs, and I have big dogs for two reasons. One, to protect my house, and two, if things get really, really bad. And they look at me like, I could never. I'm like, cool, you'll starve to death. I will at least live for another day. Like, I know it's a dark thought, and I'm glad that we live in the comforts that we live now, that we don't have to do that. But when the have to hits, I'm just saying.
Is what it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, I'm like, I'm not going to go out and kill dogs to eat. But like, if I'm somewhere, like if I'm in a village and they have, they prepared, like, they worked all day to, do a dish and it's dog meat, I'll eat it. I'm like, dude, you worked all day for that. You're honoring me. I would be a dick not to eat it.
And that's the thing is, I
for sure,
that's one of the that's one of the things that a lot of people, I've talked with people who have been in really, really either tough parts of the world. I had a very, very different growing up than I did, and their life wasn't exactly comfortable. I've talked with people who grew up with bombs blowing up around them. I've talked with people who grew up on the streets starving. And when you start to realize the idea of going, no, I draw the line at this animal, you're like, that is such a that's because you live in such a comfortable world. You can literally go, I can just excommunicate this whole thing out of my life because I have these comforts, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and that's just kind of, I don't know. That's where I'm at. And
yeah, I mean, like here in China during the Cultural Revolution, you know, there was people would like, depending on which historian you look at, from anywhere from about 40 to 80 million people died. Most of it was starving to death. So, like, I've talked to some old timers, and they were talking about how they, like, so people were so used to just seeing dead people everywhere that kids were just playing soccer with dried skulls, just because there was like so many dead people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So some of those things, I'm like, for me, I'm like, you know, for those guys, if you live through that, you know, I don't begrudge you eating anything. You know, I've heard of people like my grandparents, they lived through the Great Depression, you know, and people would literally boil shoe leather to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you make a vinegar pie, which sounds weird, but you can actually make a really good meringue that tastes like lemon meringue pie. But like, you get things like that, and you know, when that's all you have, you eat what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, my idea is, you know, if somebody, like, if I'm in a place and like I've had donkey people, you know, have offered me donkey and stuff like that, I'm like, sure, I'll take it. You know, I'm not too proud to eat it. Plus, I want to see if it tastes good.
Yeah, and that, yeah, and no, I think
I've eaten plenty of different animals.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it.
No, and I don't think that we should be. I think I think that, again, you don't treat anything in this world with malice and disrespect like that. Like, I don't
abuse anything.
No, don't. And like I said, that's where I have a problem with how some of the animal farms are in China, how some of the animal farms are even here in the US. That's my problem. It's why I won't eat veal. I won't eat veal because they take a baby calf directly out of its mother and they chain its neck to the ground and it never gets to move. And that's why the veal meat is so, and I'm like,
in order to keep it tender.
Yep, in order to keep it tender. I won't eat veal. I can't do it. I just, there's something
That's
so wrong about that to me.
For me, that's like, I don't know where most of the meat comes from here in China. I know there's a lot of yaks, but like, if it's like a Tibetan yak, I'll eat like the Muslim yaks over the Tibetan yaks any day. Because like the Tibetans, they can't kill. It's like against their religion to kill the animal. So in order to not kill the animal, they'll just stuff its nose with mud so it suffocates. Because that's them technically not killing the animal. But where I live, a lot of them work with the Muslims, so they'll just hire like Muslim butchers to kill for it. So
oh wow.
most of the meat I'll get from the Muslim butchers.
Yeah, Americans are funny with the way we are. I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit with an anime reference here. There's a really
Excel Saga?
funny. Yes, Excel Saga. Exactly.
I knew it.
Yes.
Wait, what?
So there's this madcap
food
anime called
supply.
Excel Saga. It's utterly insane. But there is a character that is a small white dog, and its name is Menchie, otherwise known as Emergency Food Supply. And anytime the main characters are short on cash and can't buy food, Menchie gets very worried about his continued survival, or her continued survival, depending on how you want to look at it, because they will just look at the dog and contemplate killing it and dressing it up and making a meal out of it. And it's wild because the ending credit scene is the dog singing a song begging people not to eat it.
The hell kind of drug-induced stuff are you guys watching?
Dude, Koshi Rick is a nut.
Dude, I'm starting to notice that there's a lot of anime stuff that, like, I'm just like tomorrow, assuming that I wake up early enough, and I'm going to, I think, maybe. And a lot of, there, like, I might do, like a 10 things that anime needs to stop doing video. Because there are things.
Saga was made in, like, I want to say the late 90s, I think.
I think it was
that was
early,
a weird time.
Like 2001 or something.
Yeah, I guess maybe it was turn of the century, but basically the premise of the show follows a series of characters, and they end up taking different roles based on tropes. So it satirizes tropes in every episode. You'll have an episode of Super Sentai. You'll have an episode of, horror monsters. You'll have an episode of zombies, and the characters stay the same, but the theme changes with each episode.
And it's just the characters are trying to take over the world.
Yeah,
they're super villains who are trying to take over the world.
Yeah,
like the first episode, the main character gets killed like 20 times.
Yeah, Excel and the assistant, they are basically the henchmen to this one dude who magnanimously declares that he wants to rule the world, and he sends them out on missions.
Yeah, and half the time he gets tired of Excel, and he just kills her
in some way, and she comes right back.
And the other girl is just anemic, and she'll just fall over.
Yeah, she randomly dies. Blood loss. Yeah. It's really bizarre.
What the
Dude, and then there's crazy side plots. They have this immigrant character named Pedro.
Who,
who for some reason is blessed by the universe.
Richard,
it's really odd.
Please back me up here. Please tell me that you're
the universe, if I remember
he
correctly.
Does.
Richard, back me up. Please tell me you're as scared as I am right now.
I'm not really scared. I just this is definitely outside my wheelhouse.
Watch it. If you can find it, watch it. It's the funniest thing, but it makes absolutely no sense. And it says so right in the beginning.
Jose Hernandez, Michael Harris. Hey, have you heard of Black Lagoon or Gantz?
I know both of them, but I haven't watched either of them.
I've seen them.
Yeah, same here. I'm
another really good one. Have you seen School Rumble?
Yes.
No.
Which
School
one?
Rumble is the best.
School Rumble is sort of a slice of life comedy about a high school class. It's cute, but it's also kind of crazy.
The main character, he's like this reformed gangster.
Yeah, Rice, actually, I think your wife would really like School Rumble.
So she has been getting into a lot of the shonen anime. I don't know if she would do the slice of life anime very well. I can't stand slice of life anime. It's not my thing. I don't like it.
It's a comedy, so it pokes fun.
This one, I think you'd like it. It's a romantic comedy, but it's way, way, way more heavy on the comedy.
Yes, it's very silly, and it's cute and kind of oddly wholesome.
Fuck you, Herman.
Yeah, when I was young, I used to be a dumbass. I was the king of the world.
Well. That's actually a quote that a lot of people could probably sympathize with.
It's a lot of fun.
Dude, I have been I didn't like anime. I didn't for many years. Obviously, you get into there's my Vegeta up here, and then I actually have a pop figure Vegeta that my wife bought me up here because Vegeta's my favorite character. There's a couple that I grew up with that I thought were really cool that I really liked. for the most part, didn't like anime. A lot of ones that people are like, oh, dude, you got like, they're like, oh, dude, I grew up with Naruto. And I'm like, I heard that motherfucker speak one time. And I was like, nope, I can't. I just,
Naruto.
So here's my problem. Here's my problem with anime. And it always has been. And then I'll tell you why I actually started getting into anime. My problem with anime, even in the American dub, I have a really hard time with the over-the-top bombastic voice acting, okay? In the American dub, it's almost too much for me to handle. I cannot watch subtitled anime. I cannot watch Japanese anime voice acting. It bothers me to my core. I just can't do over that because especially like Japanese anime, and there's nothing wrong with the craft. And I think these guys, and I can respect the craft while saying not my thing, right? And there are anime that like I almost bowed out of Demon Slayer because of the voice actor for the Zunetsu, the lightning guy. Yeah. I almost bowed out for the American, like I over the top, super loud. Like it's not my thing. And that's why I couldn't get into a lot of anime. That's why a couple of the animes that I did like, kind of avoided those growing up. And then my daughter starts telling me that she really likes anime and she wants to watch more anime. Now, she ended up watching Naruto, and I know from a lot of people that Naruto is perfectly fine for her to watch, and so I did not vet that one because Naruto's been around for long enough. Obviously, I don't have. But it was like, okay, well, if my daughter is going to watch anime, I want to make sure that I control that thing that she's watching, so I went and started watching different ones, and then I was like, well, okay, I don't just want to watch stuff that's like just for the kids. Maybe I'll find some things that are interesting for the wife and I to watch. And admittedly, we found some. But my good Lord, there are some things in anime that I'm just like, can you just not? Could you just like?
Most of it's not made for children.
I'm not talking about for children. I'm not even talking about for children. I'm going to do a top 10 things about anime that just piss me off. I already wrote down the list. I'm actually going to have to take notes. It's going to be a full, like, produced, like, better video. Probably not going to get any hits on the channel, but there are just some things. And, oh my God, dude, there are some things that just... Although, I will say this. There are some things that I'm like, you know what? This is fun. Like, for instance, Demon Slayer, believe it or not, my kids are cool to watch the show because they actually change a lot in the show that they get a little bit less risque with a couple of scenes, which is good in the show. In the manga, I was actually going to buy the manga for my daughter to read because she loves Demon Slayer, loves Demon Slayer. No. She needs to be a little bit older yet. Because of specifically one of the Hashira and the Swordsmith village arc. But I'm glad but this is why I vet the things that before I get for my kids. But no, there are some things even in anime that I really enjoy that I just wish they would stop doing. However, if I had my wish, anime would fail horribly. Because I'm going to point out some things. I've been planning this video for over a week now. I think I have time tomorrow morning. You guys started the anime talk.
I mean, I cut my teeth on like things like Space Battleship Yamamoto, Galaxy Express. Like Leiji Matsumoto stuff was really... Right. What I loved most about anime when I was younger, and of the things that came over to the US that I actually had access to. And the old stuff had a much different vibe than the new stuff does.
One of my first favorite anime, and I didn't know it was anime. I just thought it was an animated cartoon. We picked it up at one of the video rentals. Remember when you guys could go rent VHS for a few days? You guys remember that?
Yep.
And it was Princess Mononoke, Studio Ghibli.
Oh, that's a great movie.
That is, even to this,
As
I
much
showed it
as
to my
everybody
kids.
yells at Hayao Miyazaki, it is a good movie.
Dude, fuck, that is I love it as an adult. And
Hayao Miyazaki movie.
And
Which one?
Sorry.
Mononoke is my tied for favorite Miyazaki movie.
What's
Cat-
tied with
Castle
that?
in the Sky.
Yes. That's why you're my boy.
I showed that movie to my kids, and my kids were just like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!"
Mm.
And here's why that's so cool, because I loved that movie so much as a kid, and my kids watch it, and they're like, "That's so cool," and they loved it, and the animation still holds up. What 30 years, almost 35 years later, or however. I remember taking we took the whole family to go see the Spider-Man No Way Home. It's the way they brought they brought all the Spider-Men back, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. And I asked my kids after it was done, "Hey guys, what did you think?" They're, "Yeah, that movie was really good." And one of my kids, and I was probably the destructive one. But anyway, but that we have one. But because we have four. We have four. And they go, "That movie was really long," and all of them goes, "Yeah, that movie was really long. Yeah, it was." I've never heard my kids talk about that movie again. However, my kids came up to me for a month or two after they saw Princess Mononoke one time. "Dad, you remember that movie that we watched with like the wolf and the girl, and then like and they were and they were like the princess." I was like, "Princess Mononoke?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "The guy, yeah, that movie was so good." My kids wouldn't, they as soon as we were out of the theater, they forgot the Spider-Man movie. And all they remember was it was really long. But Princess Mononoke, my kids remembered for months. And I believe actually my wife wanted to watch it, and my wife put it on for a couple of times. That right there tells me how good the show is, because I as an adult can enjoy it. I can share it with my kids. A couple of bloody scenes, but there's no TNA. There's no, overly graphic violence, right?
Except for a dude getting his arm shot off.
Oh, dude, that was such a great scene. My daughter's mouth was like, I was like, yeah. She was like, "Oh my god, that's insane." I was like, "I know."
Yep.
They had seen Demon Slayer prior to that, though. Because
have they watched Castle in the Sky?
No, I don't know about Castle in the Sky. Dude, I don't know about a lot of the
You need to watch that with them. It's
okay.
It's by the same dude who did Princess Mononoke.
Yeah,
it's super good. It's more kid friendly, but it's like I'm gonna show that to my little one when they get a little bigger.
My Neighbor Totoro is another really good one for kids.
Yeah, I recommend all the Studio Ghibli stuff. Well, not all of it actually. There's some pretty
Grave
there's
of
some
the
bizarre
Fireflies.
stuff.
Grave of the Fireflies might not be real good.
Probably
that
not.
One I'll do that, but I'm gonna do it like I plan on homeschooling my kid if I most likely.
Boy.
So I'll do that as a history lesson.
There you go.
When they're a little older, maybe like 12 or 13 or something. I'll be like,
Kiki's
history
delivery
lesson
service.
today is Grave
Kiki's
of the
Delivery
Fireflies.
Service. Same.
What's the one?
Studio Ghibli. That's my wife's favorite. My wife actually loved that movie. She actually we have it on DVD. Kiki's Delivery Service.
It's one of my daughter's favorites.
Yeah, my wife loves it. My daughters love it. It's great.
Yeah, there's one.
Spirited Away is the other one. My daughter.
I have heard of Spirited Away, but I've
Spirited
never
Away
seen
is really, really good.
I got her
what are the
travel neck pillow that looks like Haku the dragon.
What are the spirit things in the forest in Princess Mononoke? What are the?
I forget the name.
Karumas,
And they got the
think?
big eyes, and they.
Yeah.
And like do the
I think
thing.
it's like called a Karuma, but I'm not sure.
Got chat. What are the spirit thing? Yeah, them little guys. My wife gets animal bones, and Kodama. They're called Kodama. So attaboy chat.
Forest sprites.
My wife, she and sometimes she'll put together like like artful little like inside of like mason jars, like little like forests and stuff with like animal bones and things like that. And she bought a bunch of kodama and put those in there.
Yeah,
And
Nice.
that was really cool. Yeah,
those ones I actually got.
Your wife
links
should
from her.
start making knife handles with those bones.
that's a lot of work. So
Fair enough.
It is.
Dude,
don't joke, Coon.
Making handmade weapons is a lot of work. I made a machete one time just to see if I could. It was intense.
Yeah,
And
knife making's no joke.
like,
man.
yeah, like I got this old piece of metal and then it shaped it out and then sanded it. It ended up being more like an axe than a machete, but it was pretty cool.
I was gonna say,
Sometimes you're
Royce,
just like,
the one
I need to see if I can make something. I'm gonna make a machete this time. And then, like, I was a private detective one time, or private eye one time, just to see if I could. One case.
Nefarious has ceased this anime heresy at once and get back to talking comics.
That's an author, not a comic book creator.
Yeah, we're actually talking. We're actually talking with the author, and the author did bring up anime tonight, and we just obliged.
I sort of started that one though. That was my fault.
Shh.
Yeah, I was thinking about Excel Saga too, though. I was gonna
Yep.
mention.
That's right. You guys said it at the same time.
Before we move off Studio Ghibli, I was going to tell you, Royce, I really think you'd enjoy Pompoko. Pompoko. It's right up your alley. So
Yeah, watch Pompoko and Castle in the Sky. Those two. Watch Castle in the Sky with kids because it's an awesome movie. And
Nausicaa's not bad. I mean, there's nothing.
So
it has some war themes, but there's not a lot.
I didn't mean to get us back on the anime.
Sorry.
So my favorite of the anime when it was when I was a kid, still my favorite to this day, is probably the Get Backers. It has some of my favorite villains. A lot of people don't know the Get Backers. It's a really obscure.
I haven't watched the whole series, but I've seen a couple episodes. Did I watch the whole series? I might have.
I find myself, I definitely like more action-oriented shows. And I find myself really interested in shows where the main characters are just already just badasses. And it's really, really fun when you're just kind of following these guys. They're kind of fun and they're goofy and they screw up and one of them's really loud. God, Genji Amino used to irritate the shit out of me. But then all of a sudden there comes this point in the fight. And all of a sudden they go, all right, it's time for me to get serious. And you go, oh shit. And I love shows like that when you have the oh shit moment. The main character isn't just a goofball. They're actually quite dangerous and should be respected. I love when shows do that. I know that's a fairly common trope in some anime, but I really enjoy show. I'm actually I foresee myself getting really into Hell's Paradise.
It's a common trope.
Trigun is a really good example of that.
Yep.
Convoy Bebop told me about Trigun many years
Trigun's
ago.
fantastic. The original.
Yeah, that's one of the original with that trope, and it's one of the best too.
But it's a thematic trope. It's found in a lot of entertainment media and mythologies that the culture is designed around a quiet simplicity where you're not supposed to be like, I'm the greatest, and the guys that are obviously pompous and generally despised by the people around them. So
they end up being the ones who aren't as great as they think.
Yeah, exactly. So the hidden strength trope is something that's handed down from generational history. If you had a great skill, you didn't go around talking about it. You just did it.
Yep. That's you notice that in real life too. Like I've also done a lot of martial arts, and the ones who talk the biggest game usually suck at fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell the good fighter, like if they're quiet but they have cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
You know that dude's a badass. Or you can just kind of tell by how they stand. Like, I was training with this one dude. He's like 5'4", and I became friends with him randomly, just chatting one day, and like chatting about martial arts. And it turns out he was like the champion of all of China in Chinese wrestling, which is kind of like, it's called Shuaijiao, and Shuaijiao is kind of like judo, but you have to stay standing the whole time. So you just like can throw people, do crazy shoulder throws, do a whole bunch of crazy sweeps and trips. And like that dude, you would never expect it, but this moment you see him move, you're like, oh, this dude is a master. And like he's 5'4". Like when I first wrestled with him, I think he was like 65. He was just like throwing me everywhere. I do one thing, and just because he's like been wrestling so long and he was like champion, like the Chinese champion, like in the 80s, I would just, off balance just this much, and you just boom.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, holy crap, this dude's awesome. But
Yeah.
he never bragged about it. He was just like, oh yeah, I was champion, and we were talking, and I was telling him like, oh, I do a little bit of sanda, which is like Chinese MMA without the ground fighting. It's like Chinese kickboxing with throws and whatnot. And he was like, oh, that's awesome. And like American boxing is awesome. And he was like, talking up all the other martial arts. And then, turns out he's this like amazing dude who can, he'll throw anybody just like that.
Oh. Gentlemen.
Oh, it's the 2-hour mark.
As much as I hate to say this, as much as I hate to say this, we have reached the time limit to where I do have to turn it over to the chat and read their super chats and read their questions that have come in, and then continue to get abused for the next.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Don't give the chat ideas,
Let
please.
the chaos begin.
We are not allowed to give the chat ideas.
Ready? Go! Kaisha.
All right.
All right.
I will start over on the Rumble side. And Herman P. Hunter, the Lore Forge, for $50.
Woo! Wow.
Thank you so much, Herman. And no. Oh my God, no. Periopsis Press she says our turn. Don't join them. Don't do it, Katie.
Hi,
No.
Katie.
Do it, Katie.
Don't do it. Why? No. She was
one of us.
cool, and now she's part of the chat. Katie, don't let them turn.
Eventually.
It's okay, Katie. I'm on your side. After this show, I'm gonna go back and start harassing them.
All right, Herman P. Hunter, the Lore Forge, for $50 over on Rumble says, "Did I hear that correct? Royce likes to eat dog food."
Not what he said, but yeah.
It has a slightly buttery taste. I can't tell you how I know, except for I was a kid and it looked interesting.
Oh God. Oh yeah, the guys are definitely sharing. Yes, and everybody, just so everybody knows, please offer thoughts and prayers up to R.H. Snow and her husband and her family right now. There was a bad accident. Her husband right now, as far as we know, is stable, which thanks to God. But yeah, it's definitely, if you can, don't bombard her, but she does tweet on Twitter, so just let her know that you are thinking about her and her family. Kikomon for $2, and I don't think he finished up any of the jokes here. Kikomon had to bow out, but Kikomon for $2 says, "Why does the cabinet have ice cubes on the handle?" He didn't give me the punchline. I don't know. Does anybody know the punchline to that one? Oh, all right. Kikomon for $2 says, "Why are those flowers purple? They should be red."
There
I'm
were no,
still
there were no
confused.
flowers on there at the time.
This
was right before he was like, I gotta go.
Yeah. No, he had to bow.
Maybe Kikoman started way early and we were just testing.
Yeah, he had to. Yeah.
Kikoman, you drink too much soy sauce. It's giving you
Yes.
hallucinations.
It's true.
It's just transcendence.
It's transcendence.
Because he's the socialist leader.
Oh God, no! Don't start that crap. Don't.
He's reaching.
Stop
another
feeding into the
plane.
chat. Why are you feeding into the chat?
And if you consume as much soy sauce as Kikoman has, you too can gain enlightenment.
No. Kikoman for $10 is Royce. What the fuck? God gave you facial hair for a reason. Stop trying to be transgender. You're like Pinocchio with questionable attractions. Gay. Repent and drink some soy sauce. Join the SSSR.
That's a good
All
one.
right, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, people get really offended when you shave. Like today, as like a
As
guy.
they
People
should.
oh no, I do not at all. I hate facial hair. The only reason it grows on me is because I'm fucking lazy.
I did shave a little bit because I came down to Yunnan and it was like super hot. So
yeah, I don't like if other people want to grow facial hair. I don't have a problem with it. I just can't stand it. The only reason like I'll have facial hair is because even my wife looks at me and she goes, needs to grow back a little bit. I'm like, all right. She's like, yep, you just look too young, babe. It doesn't feel right. I'm like, wow, thanks, babe. Appreciate it. So
dude, I hate being naked faced. It's so gross.
I like being naked face. You know, because the thing is that
Royce just wishes he could be on the cover.
He's an exhibitionist, a facial exhibitionist.
No, it's like, well, you know, everybody always talks about being old all the time. Everybody's like, oh, you know, we're all getting so old, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, I don't feel old. And
he's
like,
angling for that Bud Light sponsorship. That's all.
Oh, fuck off.
That's
okay,
why.
we're just, you fuckers.
Did we start calling you Dylan?
No, fuck off. No. Chaozu, it's our time down here. The ultimate kahuna. Royce knows we don't listen. That's why no feet. Yeah. No, we're not doing feet. No, you guys, they're so very strange. The ultimate kahuna for $1.99 says Royce will show all feet on Amaranth's new show. No, the fuck I won't. No, dude, my feet don't like
Only
ever see
feet.
the light of it. There's not usually a moment in my day after I like wake up and get out of the shower that I don't have boots on. Like
Here in China, you always take your shoes off when you get home. So
yeah, that would not that I can't not have shoes on. I just it's not
There are no shoes
and
allowed.
not
in my
even
house.
just like I don't own a pair of tennis shoes. All I wear are boots.
Dude.
I have my work boots. I get home if they're muddy, I take them off. I go upstairs and I get like I guess people would call these cowboy boots, but they're just a set of Ariats. I call them my shit kickers because usually when I'm out like working on the farm and stuff like that, like I always wear slip-on boots like that. Yeah, but I don't even own a pair of tennis shoes. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's well, that's the reason I call them that is I used to help my dad, muck stalls and things like that. So
yeah,
but
I remember those times out on my grandpa's farm. Didn't muck the stalls, but I helped feed the cows the hay bales.
I wish my socks were surgically fused to my body, Herman P. Hunter. It's like if
dude, socks suck. I have hairy legs, so if I get the long socks, they'll like pull on the hairs. So I hate wearing like anything longer than ankle socks.
No, oh god, no, oh no,
Sucks.
No,
That's too much to share. Anyways, buy my books. No.
Buy my books.
I'm
Yes,
just
go
looking
buy
at
his
chat.
book. Hey, yes, buy his book. And by the way, I have
I'm
the
still
pre-order for his
bothered
book.
by Royce's obsession with wearing socks.
Yeah, he's getting really worked up about the whole foot thing. It's almost like he's already running a foot-based OnlyFans account, and he doesn't want anybody to find out about it.
It's his only feed account.
Yeah.
If it were
suspicious.
Just if
suspiciously
it were
defensive.
successful, do you think I would be here?
I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be many people paying to see your feet, Royce. If that's what you're asking me, it might not be.
Why
The
the
best
fuck would
endeavor.
I do it then?
It's called Pose of
I
Destiny.
don't know, exhibitionism. You know, I just.
Oh. Fuck.
I'm not judging. I'm just.
You almost got him to shoot it through his nose.
I tried to stop that one before it got too far because I knew I was gonna laugh. Oh God, that hurt.
That reminds me, my first year of marriage, my goal was to make my wife squirt water out of her nose one time, laughing so hard.
Oh,
Finally
that's
did
awesome.
it. It made a huge mess. It was hilarious.
Relationship
That's
goal.
hilarious.
Yep.
Oh God. Maji Chan's got a point. The Daniel chair meter is busted tonight. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. You haven't sunk yet.
Nope.
What the hell? He's building up a tolerance.
I'm
There you
drinking
go.
my latte, my osmanthus latte.
Oh, interesting.
There you go.
No, there's a reason I specifically angled the camera this way so that I couldn't slump too far without vanishing off the screen.
There you go.
But your head's still above the chair.
It is
On purpose.
I'm a great guest.
Trust me.
That's why.
Trust me, as soon as I get up, I'm gonna get the spins.
You're
right.
gonna be like,
Oh God.
just stand up slowly.
The ultimate kahuna for $4.99 says Michael steps into Daniel's office. Daniel, show me. That's when you guys were talking about you worked on his that's hilarious.
Works with the foot conversation though as well.
Can we fucking not please? Can we please move past the feet? Just like it would be wonderful. To me. I don't know what that means.
Just talking about feet in Chinese.
Please don't talk about feet in Chinese. It makes me uncomfortable.
I said, let me look at your feet. They should be beautiful.
Royce is like, I'm writing that down.
Carry on.
No,
That's gonna be Royce's, foot fetish website.
Royce, you can say, 我不要看你的脚.
dude, I've seen. Man, I grew up with Internet 1.0. I have seen some fucked up shit on the internet, and the feet thing still fucking weirds me out. I've like,
Royce, you can just say, 我不要看你的脚.
no,
I don't
I'm not
wanna
gonna
see
say
your
that at all.
feet.
No.
That's what it actually means. I don't want to see your feet.
Oh God. Oh God. I don't trust any of you. You're part of the chat, Michael. I don't trust you.
I'm telling the truth. Other Chinese speakers, if you're there, back me up.
Okay. No, because
Wait.
they're in the chat. I can't trust them either.
Okay, I'll tell you the opposite, and then
Yeah,
you can
right.
say that.
The ultimate kahuna for $1.99. Michael, are you sure it just wasn't gasoline? Talking about the Chinese vodka that you drank out of the gasoline.
It's Chinese moonshine, thank you.
You can tell the difference between the smell.
Right.
One time I was siphoning gas
I mean, a little bit.
because I was moving helping with restore a car, and I was siphoning gas. Oh, I accidentally swallowed some, and I had pickles that day. Those were the worst burps ever. Pickle gasoline burps.
Yeah.
And it made my stomach really gaseous, so I was burping every 10 minutes. It was the worst thing ever.
Wow.
I
No,
don't
I actually know
recommend it.
people who've swallowed a little bit of gasoline before. Not a fun time.
Oh,
Not a fun
dude,
time.
it sucks
No, it is
hardcore.
not.
Oh, especially when you're siphoning gas. Oh, yeah.
Dude, yeah, that sucks hardcore. It's funny, most of the time I think my life is pretty normal and boring. Then I'll talk about things like that, or getting attacked by a drunk with a spear, and I'm like, oh, this isn't normal.
Was that over here or over there?
That one was here in China. I was practicing. I used to live right across the street from a park with the old city wall, and I would practice some martial arts there. And there was another dude. He would practice. I would be practicing kickboxing, and he would practice weapon forms. And there was this drunk. He came a couple times, and he would randomly try and punch and kick me. And I was like, oh, he's slow. It's good practice. Like, he wasn't trying to hurt me. So I just let him try to attack me, and I would just, practice my defense, like swat away his attacks, and it was just fun times. But one time, the dude, like, he was practicing his weapon forms, and he just had a spear sitting there. Like, it wasn't sharp, but you still get poked at the end of that. It's gonna stick into you.
Yeah.
Because, it's still a point, and even just this much force, it's gonna hurt a lot. So I was practicing, and he just grabbed a spear, and he started jabbing at me. And so I just like did this little hop step and just did a back fist, like stopped right an inch from his nose. And he just was freaked out and like fell on his butt. And I just yanked the spear from his hand, and it was like, like, don't you ever do that again. And just like shouted at him. And then the other dude like really dressed him down. But it was pretty fun disarming a drunk dude with a spear without ever touching him, knocking him on his butt.
That doesn't sound very different than like stories I've heard in the US. Like, I've heard some crazy stories. That's fucking great. I love it.
Another fun time was when I was in Mongolia and playing. I went to I was mostly in Ulaanbaatar, but we went to this place called Taraj, which is a national park, and did like a homestay in this yurt. And there was like the main dude, like he had some friends there, and they got drunk out of their minds. So, but I was like hanging out with them a little bit. One of the dudes, he was like this gangster, and he was like taking off his shirt, showing me all his cuts and everything. He's like, "This from Night Fight. I'm mafia. I'm mafia boss," and doing all like this crazy stuff, like taking off his clothes to show me all his knife wounds. And we started doing. He was like, "We have game in Mongolia," and he like took a hot coal that had been sitting like falling out of the fire, but it was still hot. And one of the games is you play hot potato with a hot coal and see who can last longest. And so I won. I was pretty happy. Then after that, he took the hot coal and massaged my feet with it, which was kind of weird, but
can you stop with the feet thing?
Back around
It's
to
just
feet again.
the show keeps going
That
back
was-
to feet, and I don't.
I'll be
Why?
honest with you, Michael. You
Well
kinda
played,
lost me
Michael.
on the lead up to that one, but you brought it home at the end. That was great.
You just
Oh,
don't.
this is all true, by the way.
Yeah.
Well
Just-
played.
I don't understand you people.
Anyway, carry on with the super chats.
Yeah, that's how you.
To the
The
super-
Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99. Royce, the way you and the chat interact reminds me of my ex-wife. LOL. I definitely don't contribute. Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah. Basically, he's saying it's all my fault. Fuck you. The
drink
Ultimate
to
Kahuna. This one came in when we started down the anime talk. He says, let's see if I can read this correctly. This is for $1.99. Let's see if I can read. One punch. That's what he. I believe I read that correctly. Was I off in my cadence there? I think
a little bit.
A little bit.
But yeah, I've actually heard from that the One Punch Man. They're probably not going to continue the anime if I know, but like the manga gets fucking crazy. Because I've been watching channels just to like listen to, because I drive a lot for work, so I need something. Oh my god, like One Punch Man's gonna punch God, apparently.
Maybe.
And
If I remember
like-
the theme song, you got to channel some hair metal with that punch.
Yeah, that one, I think I read that chapter. He basically like he breaks through time and space, and like him and this other guy, Garo, like Garo gets like the powers of the universe, and like he punches him so hard he punches the time and space back into place, basically.
Yes. The glory
Anyway.
of One Punch.
I don't. Skunk's
Actually,
Workshop.
you probably get a
Just
kick out
go
of
with
that.
it.
Skunk's Workshop for $5. Was there? I feel like I missed a question or two that did not get saved. Oh, wait, no, because I did ask those earlier. Okay, cool. Skunk's Workshop for $5 says, Harris, I'm reading Sleeper Agent reviews. Most seem to really agree that the fight scenes are awesome. I'm intrigued now.
He does very well with combat. It's procedural, but also really enjoyable to read.
Yeah, I was saying, I've studied some martial arts, and I'm actually teaching. I've been teaching my high school PE class some kickboxing and some Chinese wrestling.
Nice.
So, doing that in between Ultimate Frisbee and a couple other things.
Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah, that's the best.
I haven't heard about that in eons.
Dude, that's been a hot minute since I've done Ultimate Frisbee.
Dude, we have like a Ultimate Frisbee league, a lot of foreigners and some Chinese people, not league, but like a little group. So I play that almost weekly for years. Yep. It does have a magic school element.
Oh, cool.
So the main character, she gets invited by one of the professors to attend the what do I call it in the book? The Imperial Academy of Magic. I'm kind of bad at naming things because most things in real life, they just have like stupid names. Like it's the office, so you just say the office. So in my books, I'm also like, it's the Imperial Academy of Magic. They just call it the Academy.
It fits.
So, yeah, the first book is a magic school. The second book is not going to be a magic school because, spoiler alert, the name of the second book is The Death of Magic.
Oh, God.
Nice.
So you'll have to see what comes from
Trippy,
that.
I hope you're still here and you clipped that. That was absolutely accidentally perfect.
He will. Oh no, Trippy will send the things. He will do. He's getting mad at me because I haven't put out any clips in a while because I'm busy. So
I'm using that moment as a timestamp because you were looking at your screen and Richard looked away and the two of you were kind of looking at each other as far as the camera was concerned. It was perfect.
That's funny. I was just
Magi-chan. I think for me it's easiest to go back and forth between them, but that's because I'm a linear writer. So you just have to find what works for you, try both styles, and then if one works easier, you choose that one. Because I know a lot of writers, are like, this is the best way, this is the best way, this is the best way. And some people I've seen some people and they'll write like scene to scene, and that's really easy for them. So other people, like for me, like me skipping scenes and not writing non-linearly, that one, like that's way harder. So instead of doing that, like I'll just write linearly. But if you're a non-linear writer, do that. If you're a linear writer, skip back and forth between the two, but just experiment a little bit, try both, and whichever's easier, you go with that one.
Definitely. It really all depends on your preparation. For people like me who outline with bullet points, it's easier for me to say spend a chapter focused on one group or a part of a chapter focused on one group, and then do a section break and do the other group's reaction to what's going on in the same area or with the same specific event that's happening, in contrast. So you get both parts moving as one, but that only works because of my outline structure and the way that I personally write. So
I did that for Echoes of Memory, because Echoes of Memory follows two main characters, but it has like almost 5 mostly main characters,
and a ton of named secondary characters that are all moving around. Yep.
Yeah, so that one, like, I would usually do most of a chapter or like at least 2 or 3 scenes, and then I would switch scenes, and it would be like a kind of either the same thing from a different perspective,
right,
or like a concurrent theme. running around the same time that weaves in with the next, with the main story and weaves in with the character story again.
Yeah, there's some merit to what is called head hopping when you're doing multiple characters moving around in the same event. It's hard sometimes to really keep the flow going, so you just have to play with it and see what works best for you and
Yep.
get
Basically, with writing, you just write in a couple different ways and find which is easiest for you, and then do that.
there. Exactly.
Don't like try and fit yourself into a formula. Like some people say, you have to plot, you have to do this. Just find what's easiest to do, because then you'll write more naturally, and the more you write, the easier it'll get, and the easier it gets, the more you can publish. And yeah, pretty much.
And you can always add stuff in later.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I didn't quite like, or you can always change things and tweak things and clarify things. That's
But really the
what
thing
editing process is for.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that trips a lot of people up with writing is you get frustrated with what you're doing. And when just like with anything, when you get frustrated with what you're doing, it shows in the work. So if you try to constrain yourself to doing it this way or that way, or doing it by someone else's suggestion, and you try to force it, it comes through in what you're writing. You can tell when a writer is forcing a scene to function in order to just get through it. You can feel it in the words. So really just find what works for you, and you have the most fun describing what you're writing, and
pretty much
it'll translate.
Yeah, for me, like I haven't had it as much with writing, but like going back to like my aphantasia and whatnot, I learn things different than other people, and I do things differently than other people. And I've tried, like, some people will have like this method. Like for me, I tell people I'm a subconscious learner. Like, say with learning Chinese and other things, I know some people. My brother, he lives in Mexico, one of my brothers, and his his Spanish is flawless. And
I mean, it is technically Mexican. The dialect is different than Spanish. That's why I don't speak English. I speak American. There's a difference.
So like for him with the Spanish, he studied the grammar. He had to know all the rules. For me, learning Chinese, I learned the very basics, but when people started breaking down the rules, I couldn't do it. I just had to like get it stewing in my subconscious. And actually, like, I've had it, like, for me, going back to visit family in America, I know a lot of people who would go back, like a lot of foreigners who go back to visit family, and they lose their Chinese. But I went back and came back, and I spoke better Chinese because my subconscious had time to process and like be like, oh, this is how you use it. But if people told me, you do this rule here, 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 when I learned like that, I barely learned a word and couldn't remember anything. But when I just kind of got the idea in my head and then just had time for my subconscious to figure it out, then I could do it. So with writing, I think it's really the same. You just, if you force it and you do something that's like that goes against your, I don't know the best word, not like your learning writing style, whatever, goes against your own, I don't know a good word, your own vibes. I don't know. Anyway,
I would say your own nature.
Yeah, your own nature. Yeah. If you do something that goes against your own nature, it'll suck. But if you do something that goes with your nature, it'll be good. You'll have fun, and you'll write more. And the more you write, the better you'll get at writing.
That's not a lie.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's not a lie. I have one more super chat here for $1.99 from the Ultimate Kahuna.
And apparently it's a doozy.
Okay. He says, and I actually have to count this. Feet. LOL, not sorry. Gentlemen, do you remember when this was a somewhat respectable show about?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, that's fine. That's...
Mm-mm.
Well, Richard, I thought that first one I did with you was pretty good.
Yeah, but that wasn't technically Iron Age Nights. But
no, that wasn't. It was the week after.
That was definitely
no, but the Brian Asher show was pretty good. No, wait, no, because Shad came on and then Mike came on and then.
I'll be
Yes.
back. in
Basically,
just a minute.
it's been off the rails since I got here.
Yeah, maybe we found the source of the problem here.
Yep, it's all my fault.
Look at Skunk's Workshop says booty, feet, and books. Yet, fuck, I wish I could disagree with any of that.
I don't know about the feet part.
The chat's weird.
I mean, maybe booty, boobs, and bucks.
You see.
I mean, the foot wants what the foot wants, I guess.
No, fuck me. God, fuck. Oh my god. I got a mental image that I did not fucking need. What the hell?
Richard.
Sir.
A plus.
No.
This has been more off the rails than usual. But, hey.
Hey, you
Hey,
know.
2 hours and 30 minutes into the stream, I'm on my 5th drink.
Holy shit.
Let's go wild.
Must have been a hell of a week.
Yeah, it has been.
Oh, man. Oh, God. This
For more than just me.
You know, I will say this. I have an absolute... I know we get off the rail, we go off on the rails, and we get away from like the subject matter of the books and stuff like that. I have a lot of fun when the authors that we're talking to, they lean into different conversations, or they start other conversations that are just, and they just roll with it. And I really like that because, like I said, I think it gets people out there to know the authors a little bit. Like Blaine Pardoe, like that was a great interview. Like he definitely, like, he led into like the politics stuff, and I was like, oh, awesome. Like I was like, you know what I mean? So that was really fun. But like, and then, Michael tonight and Daniel, they started the anime thing, and that's going to be one of those we only touch on anime once in a while things, because chat started going crazy. Dojo was like, I don't know what you were saying. Dojo bounced. Dojo was here and he bounced.
And I don't blame him. It's okay.
Dude,
Philistines.
Philistines. But no, it's great. I love being able to sit down and talk about life and places that we're from and really introduce the author to the people that need to buy their books. That's fucking great.
Yeah, y'all need to buy my books.
Yeah, go buy his books.
There we go.
But no, that's
all the books.
That's the fun part is, and I think as long as, even for new people who are here, like, hey, what's this live stream about? Well, this live stream is introducing you to authors. Oh, what are their stories about? Well, they're going to tell you a little bit about their stories, and then they're going to tell you a little bit about how they almost got stabbed by a drunk guy in a park in China.
And Chinese.
Like, yeah, like there's I want to connect authors with their potential new fans. And
Much to my chagrin.
Yeah, I know. You need to stop not being good at shilling. You just need
to follow Ardmar, Black Knight's example. That dude's like the shill king.
He's so good at it. He's like, because he'll always be something like, he's like, I need to talk with Razor Fist or something like that. He'd be like, what do you need to talk with about? He's like, he needs to read my books. And I'm just like, dude,
every other sentence is a shill. That's kind of,
dude, it's kind of like
God tier.
But like, dude, he's so good. But he believes in his product. He believes in what he's doing. I've read I read a good chunk of the first Star Shatter book at this point. Like,
yeah,
he does.
I haven't read the second one, but I read the first one. It's a solid pulp sci-fi.
He does a good job. He does. I, as someone who is playing in his Star Shatter tabletop RPG, like his world is insane, and just him being our DM in the tabletop RPG, we do it like every other Saturday, or well, life gets in the way, so we do it on Saturdays when we can. Dude, Black Knight freaking kills it. So, yeah.
I'm just trying to take his example and get more shill more.
No shill.
What did you the Iron Age Knights have 6 months covered? What?
Don't worry about that.
No, what the
No, it doesn't matter. I was just responding to old Ricky Rat up there. It's fine.
No, God, fucking no!
Now you gotta explain it because I don't pay attention to chat.
He was saying there needs to be a foot calendar.
Oh.
So I say we got 6 months covered.
It's just gonna be a.
There we go. Michael, there's
that's it. I'm ending it. It's over.
There's socks.
There's
It's
August.
just gonna be a 3-month section
Already
of
started.
Royce's
Can't stop.
boots.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
Really?
no more.
Really? You tried to outro
My
us?
wife is just like language. Oh, I must have been really bad if my wife is telling me to watch my language. Like, I must have been really bad. Sorry, babe.
I think you've only said the F word like 2 or 3 times so far.
Like many times tonight. I apologize. Oh.
I could teach you that in Chinese, but I'm a good Christian boy.
No. Oh man.
The problem though is it sounds almost exactly like the word for grass. And another way to say it sounds almost exactly like the word for Japan. So you just get the tone wrong a little bit, and instead of saying like I want to say another one is like if you say it just a little bit, it sounds like strawberry. And then like if you want to say like I want to buy strawberries, you can say my tame. But if you say it in the wrong tones, it sounds like, hey, I want to buy your sister to
Oh shit. Oh
my
no.
My worst mistake in Chinese though, like it's really embarrassing because it wasn't one where like the tones was messed up. Like one time I said I want to say like I was learning how to say the word secret, but instead of saying secret, I said like boobs. So like tell me about your boobs instead of tell me a secret. But my most embarrassing one was I was trying to say parents. I was trying to say parents in Chinese, but I kept on saying husband. And there's like only one syllable that's the same in parents and husband. And what's even worse is instead of saying husband, I said husbands. I was like, my husband's back in America. Yeah, my husband's, they live in America. My husband's do this.
It was probably a very strange
It was like this old couple, they just kept on looking at me like, And then like 5 minutes later, it took me like 5 minutes. I was like, oh crap. Fumu, not like parents, not husbands. They're like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
And the thing is like Zhangfu and Fumu. Zhangfumen and Fumu, like they barely sound the same. They only have Fu similar. That was my worst mistake.
That's hilarious.
Out of me.
Sir Ubasan, he just had a quick question. He says, does anyone on this stream create like Comicsgate? No, there's no, as far as I know, nobody here in the stream is creating anything in like the Comicsgate world. No, or comics. Well, they might create comics, but not, I guess, under the umbrella of Comicsgate. Not yet. Yeah.
I have some friends outside the stream who do that.
My plan for G Sedai after a certain amount of sales is to move it into visual formats. So after a certain amount of sales, that money sits in a separate account basically in my financial portfolio, and once it hits a certain point, all of that money is going to be going to a comic graphic novel sort of Western manga, I guess, for lack of a better term. And those will be produced, and then that same section will then build up funds for a animated series, hopefully.
Nice.
So I will eventually break into
I
doing
could see
comic.
it doing well, like an anime movie, like sort of the Stranger style.
That was what I'm leaning on, and the first bit of swag I'll probably be showcasing next week is kind of a
You
movie
are
poster style.
Always such a tease.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Well,
we're
I
making
can't say
Daniel
anything
come
that's
and
not
chill.
done yet.
You can
Yeah.
never say anything because it's never done yet.
What do you mean it's
Dude,
never done yet?
I'm like the
He's gotten
opposite of
some
you.
things
I'm like, I have this and this and this and this. Like, I have, I think, four or five books I'm working on at the moment. So
I literally created a 40-second video ad for Legacy of Heroes that was out a month ago.
I know, I've watched it.
What do you mean it's never finished?
your other stuff that you're like, oh, I got this ready. I'm working on this.
Hey,
what
I
I'm
have
talking
to.
about.
I'm working with other people. I have to wait for them to
I-
hand it to me
But
before I can show it to people.
I feel you. For me,
I-
I got the name of Magic, and I'm trying to pimp that now. But
Right.
I'm like, right now, during this break, during my extra time when I'm not helping the baby, I started editing another book, which is like a steampunk murder mystery on a floating Zeppelin city.
Neat.
And then I'm working on a sci-fi and the second book in the Name of Magic series, The Heavenly Mages. And then I have like 3 kids books I'm planning on publishing, and I wrote 2 babies books, and yeah. I'm slowly illustrating those.
Yep, I've got short stories for the Legacy Heroes universe. I've got the Crenshaw 5, which you and I have talked about, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm doing a modern retelling of classic horror monsters series that my daughter asked me to do. So
Nice.
yeah, there's a lot going on, and I still have Legacy Heroes 2 Rising Stars that'll be out later this year. You know, there's always projects in the pipeline. That's the point. You know, when they are in my hand, then I can show them to you. But until then, what I can do is say they're on the way.
Yeah, for me, like, I just figured, I think last year I was like, the next 5 years or so, I'm going to release 2 books a year, every year. That's my plan at the
3
moment.
for me.
So, yeah, you're a faster writer than I am, I think.
I get in flow state very quickly these days. The mood machine has refined to a point where, I can crank out some words pretty fast once I get rolling.
Yeah, for me, it's about 2,000 a day.
That's good. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, I have to work my way back up to it. Now I've been doing like 1,000 and then like editing a chapter of another book. That's kind of been my writing method for the last couple months.
I think it was I think Stephen King's average she'd said was at least 1,000. I think it was. Don't quote me, I'm drunk. But yeah. So
I was pretty happy McCoppin compared me to Stephen King. And I'm like, I like
Mr.
the
Bryan.
output. Yeah. I'm like, that's a nice comparison, not like with his politics and whatnot, because he's an idiot. But with his writing, that's a nice comparison.
For sure.
I don't know what this says.
Yes.
I hate you all. I hate you all.
Why am I thinking about Korra?
There's got to be an easier way to sell books. It's just like hating is like, oh, why did I come here?
My thought bubble just needs to be ... drinking glass.
Dude, my thought bubble right now is like, I didn't even mention the time I was boxing in the back of a. I was boxing my friends in the back of a moving truck in Mexico.
And by the way,
Anyways.
Richard, I know this isn't your fault, but fuck you, Richard.
Did you do this one, Richard?
No.
No,
See, this is
no.
why it's not my fault. He's all worked up about. Well, I think you guys already know.
I'm glad somebody got the look between the two of them, though.
I hate you all. I hate you all.
There's
another
a
one.
thunderstorm
another
going
one.
on outside, and somebody is shooting off fireworks. And like my
Oh,
wife and I were trying
dude,
to decide.
fireworks. Dude, living in China, you get used to fireworks at all times. Like,
I'm gonna say
you wake up at 3 in the morning to giant fireworks display right out your window. That's pretty normal.
That's
I'm
not
down.
too far off from how it
Usually
is in Houston. People shoot
Yeah,
off
mega
fireworks
That's
like
what I was
every
gonna
other
say.
day.
You're in Texas and Florida,
Oh,
the two
yeah.
places you should
I-
expect fireworks.
Listen, that's fine. I've never heard anybody shooting off not just a little bit, but like multiple bursts at like throughout like a 15-20 minute period in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Maybe they're trying to
pretty
scare
awesome.
the thunderstorm away.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But I was like, that's
Back
not gunshots,
demon.
is it? I
Or
don't
they're
know.
trying
I
to
mean,
get away with it. They want to do some. They want to get away with it, so they think that the sound of thunder will actually mask the fireworks, and they.
Oh, maybe.
the cops don't show up unless somebody is actually shot here around here. So I don't know. But
Well,
Maybe
that's
they're
better than
covering up
Texas
the
Sickness.
shooting.
yeah, exactly. That's more
Right.
likely.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
I've been near one of those. That was kind of crazy.
Oh god.
Same.
Gentlemen, I think it's probably a good time to do outros at this point,
Okay.
because we have
Is about
covered a
that time.
lot of ground this evening, and I've caught up on all the
Giving
super
Royce a lot
chats.
of crap about feet.
I can't. Can you just let go of that, please?
He doesn't actually. He doesn't want to touch the foot. He just wants to look at it. I think is what
God.
Yeah,
Oh, I had to sneeze.
You know what?
for like a
Nobody's
minute and a half, and I didn't
nobody's gonna
sneeze.
touch the button yet.
yeah, he
Touch the
wants
like button.
he wants you to let go.
Oh, I
of-
haven't said touch the butt yet. Oh, did you guys touch the butt?
Dude, we're almost at the end of the stream.
I know.
There
Well,
you go.
30. Hey, 32 people touched that butt. Thank you for the 32 butt touchers
Make
in.
it 40
Butt
B
is
time
officially
before the
touched.
time is over.
Yes. Oh,
8 more people touch that butt.
touch that butt. The like butt. Be like Nemo, ladies and gentlemen. Touch
Yeah.
that butt. The like button, please.
Like this.
No. Nemo went like.
Pow!
Be
Backhand
like
it.
Nemo.
Pow, pow.
He touched the butt. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Michael, good sir. Let's give one more. Okay, that's not the butt, good sir. That's a different. Anyway.
No, it's both cheeks. No, just
Oh, there you go. Boy, I
Dude,
was thinking
I
something.
gotta
Anyway.
tell you, just because it's my favorite word in Chinese, the word for butt cheeks is butt eggs in Chinese, and it's hilarious.
That's
Pigu
awesome.
dan.
Love that.
That's
It's
so
like the
good.
most funny word in Chinese.
Oh my
and-
god, that's.
And owl is also pretty good. Owl is cat head eagle.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Like
That
butt.
makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And penguin is business goose.
Yes,
Right.
I've heard that.
Is
one.
that real? I thought that was a meme. I thought
No,
somebody was.
It's
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 sort
kind of
of a
real.
loose translation.
it's a loose translation because it can mean business, but it's like that's like the third or fourth meaning of that word.
Oh,
Okay.
So
Okay,
But
I was
it
like,
is-
I feel
it is
like
kind of
a
real.
redditor has been here or something like that. That's just what I
yeah,
assumed.
basically it's real, but it's stretching it. But cat head
Ah.
eagle, that's like a direct translation
Okay,
because
that
Mao
makes sense.
is cat,
Right.
toe is head, and ying is like eagle for the owl. Pigudan is like butt eggs, which is hilarious. Sorry. Anyway,
really quickly,
Thank you,
have a good
eggs
night
and
to the
eggs.
guys in the chat that are bouncing out. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much for
Bye,
the
guys.
thoughts and prayers to RH Snow. Thank you so much, Jose. The little one will be fine. We're not sure what's going on right now. She's got this weird, it's a weird sickness. It's not, it's weird. It's like this off and on thing. And anyway, but thank you so much, Jose Hernandez. Thank you so much to everybody. The Ultimate Kahuna, he's got a peace out. Ricky Rat Comics is going to peace out. Periops is, no, wait. Ricky Rat's not peacing out yet. I think Periops' press is peacing out though. So gentlemen, if we don't say goodbye, we're not gonna have much people to say goodbye to. So
Michael
may have to do just some quick shills here to tell the peoples what websites to find us at, and drop some links in the chat, and then we will leave the horrible people of the chat to their evening. I was gonna say the good people of the chat, and then I remembered it's my chat, and no, you can't give that to the chat. So
Michael, chill away, my friend.
Yeah, Michael, drop some links real quick and tell us where to find you. And
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on, man.
Thanks for having me. So yeah, let me see. I'm gonna shill all my works because why not?
There you go.
Yeah. So I have the Sleeper Agent books. They're basically an idea. It's an action thriller with heavy emphasis on the action part of it. And basically the idea is this dude who, when he goes to sleep, he sees through the eyes of people who are awake, and he gets caught in a terrorist plot. And one of the people who's backing the terrorists also has that ability. And he gets caught up in an MK Ultra plot that goes back to the 60s, and there's going to be a whole lot more MK Ultra goodness in the future installments in that series. So yeah, I have 2 books in the Sleeper Agent series so far, and we'll see. I don't know when I'm going to start working on the 3rd, but hopefully it'll be out maybe next year. Then I have Echoes of Memory, which Daniel has read, and he thought it was pretty good, so you should read it too.
Not pretty good, very good.
He thought it was very good. That's even better. So I hope everybody else thinks it's very good too. Yeah, that one is basically it's a fantasy book, standalone, big chunker, like 700 pages, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it's an epic.
Yeah, it's a big chunker. So basically, this idea behind that story is all the magic is based off of memory manipulation. So in that story, there's different kinds of magic. You can take memories from people. You can insert your own memories into yourself into other people's memories. You can take yourself from people's memories, and you can take people's memories.
Wow.
So, and
That's pretty
the
crazy.
main hero of the story, the Emperor, he's the hero of the nation, but he's a bad dude. And the main 2 heroes, there's an assassination attempt on the Emperor at the start of the story, and the guys die. But they're memory mages, and so they send their memories out into the ether, and it lands in 2 people, one of them who's a general under the Emperor, and so they have to team up and fight the Emperor and see that the world that they think they knew is not what they knew at all.
Fantasy, political intrigue, good action, and a unique magic system.
Yep, I don't know if you could tell, but the actual setting was kind of inspired by frontier America.
Mm-hmm.
So, and let's see, my other one, Terminal, that's my newest published one, about a kid who gets superpowers. Homeschooled kid, by the way, because I was like, we don't have enough homeschoolers in media, and I want to shout out more of them. So, homeschool kid, and he finds out he has superpowers at the very worst time, which is like when he finds the girl he's been pining over for like a couple years, likes him back. He feels like he's floating, and he really is. And so finds out he has superpowers, and in that world, superpowers kill him. And yeah, it's a good, sad read. if you like good sad reads. And my newest book is going to be the first in a series. I don't know if it'll be a trilogy or a quadrology, but one of those. What do we call it? Quartet? Yeah, not quadrology.
Quartet. Yes.
I've heard people call them quadrilogies, but but a quartet. That's the quartet is
the official term.
Yeah, that's better than quadrology.
No, it's not. Let ignorant people have their ignorance, you smart sons of bitches.
Anyway,
get
this one is the first is the Name of Magic, because Jialing, when she's at the Magic Academy trying to help pay off her father's debt, she stumbles onto some ancient scrolls about the lost heavenly mages and ends up connecting with the source of magic, the Name of Magic, and befriending him. And her connection to the source of magic gets her caught in an old conspiracy, which was meant to be good, but has been corrupted by evil people from the outside. And
Fantastic.
That's pretty much all my works at the moment. And I have a Redbubble shop. You can buy some cool merch there, like some theological designs, some political designs, some just random ones like Bigfoot believes in you.
Nice.
That's great.
And I think you shouted out before, but I also have some music over on SoundCloud if y'all want that.
Cool.
Oh,
and that's my super long shill.
Oh, you're good, man.
Your Twitter handle, Holmes.
Oh yeah, my Twitter handle.
Oh yeah, that thing.
MAnthonyHarris at MAnthonyHarris1 at twitter.com. Let me see if I can. The problem with Twitter is I have to. Let me share it. Give me a second. Phew. Copy. Sure. I'll send it in this chat here. Then y'all can link it there. I don't know how to do that.
You're good. I got it. That's what I've been doing. Literally every time you.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been linking like crazy.
Well, yeah, because I linked each of the different books as he mentioned them because I had the page pulled up. So like you would talk. I've been. I understand why people.
Yeah, I usually am in the chat, but like the lag here, especially like here in China, it's like weird watching that. So I was just like, I'll talk with y'all, and next week I'll be extra obnoxious in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, joy. Yay.
Richard, chill.
No, no.
Well,
yes.
No.
Richard, chill.
I was gonna say Daniel got a decent chill in, and besides, he's saving he's keeping his powder dry for whenever he gets done with the next.
I'm gonna make him chill. I'm gonna make him chill before the end.
I might let him skip this week because he's somewhat shilled earlier.
Got at least half chill.
Give us a half-hearted chill there, Daniel.
Yeah.
Give us a half chill.
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. DP Riley. You can check out whimsyland.org, literary coaching and services. New website is up. It is beautiful. Check it out, especially if you need editing, some coaching, or any kind of help with getting your project created.
He just helped me format the Name of Magic, and it really helped a lot.
Happy to be of service.
That actually wasn't a bad show.
You wanted a quick one.
All right, fine. It's fine.
All right,
Richard.
Well, I will go ahead and start off with Anvil Magazine. I'm assuming that everybody in chat has probably heard about it, but if you have not, it's a collection of pulp with some illustrations and a comic preview from Razorfist and George Alexopoulos that they're funding currently right now. It's going to be, the campaign is closing on Monday. It'll be in the in-demand phase for a little while longer after that, but I'm not sure how long. So, go check it out. There's a lot of Iron Age authors and involvement there. So if you want to support the folks involved with the Iron Age, myself included, that's a great way to do it. And also, as always, there is ironage.media, where I have articles and weekly prompts for art and short stories. And I just posted that in completely the wrong chat, and there we go. There's also the submission guidelines for Anvil issue number 2 are up now over there on Iron Age. And the final thing I'll show is my YouTube channel, which I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, but I had a interview with Razorfist and George Alexopoulos about their upcoming graphic novel, Ghost of the Badlands. So if you're curious about that, check it out.
Anvil. Tell your friends. Tell strangers.
Yes.
See. Don't be creepy about it, because it's like weird. Don't be like, hey, it's Anvil. Just like, hey, man, you're about
be creepy about it.
Don't be creepy about it. Don't,
yes, be creepy about it.
Don't listen.
Have you heard of Anvil magazine?
Yeah.
We're at 18,500.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's get to 19, folks.
Dude, that's fucking insane.
Tell random strangers.
That's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, for my show, be here on Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. We do Sunday coffee. We're going to read your comments and have some fun and chat away. So 11 a.m. Central, every single Sunday we go. We're going to read your comments and yeah, we're going to have some fun. We're probably going to talk some anime this week because, well, yeah, man, that rabbit hole is fucking ridiculous. The anime rabbit hole, man, it's bad.
Dude, you should check out School Rumble.
No,
you just haven't watched enough isekai yet. That's it.
No, I am not. No, I'm not.
You can go with the original isekai with Escaflowne. That's a good one.
Ooh, yeah, that's
it was
good.
before isekai was isekai and it didn't suck.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
No, you got to go for the ones where it's like I choked on my gum and now I'm a god level.
No, none of this shit that
slime.
you guys are saying right now makes any sort of sense.
It
Don't
doesn't
listen
make
to
any sense.
Richard.
No. People with powers, they fight stuff and make things explode. That's.
Check out Escaflowne though. That one's cool. It's got giant robots.
I say my wife does like Escaflowne.
I don't like the giant robot stuff.
It's giant robot sword fighting
Philistine
with magic cloaks that hide them and stuff. Invisible cloaks.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching Iron Age Nights. And we will see you all next time.
Bye, Jen.
Cheers, everybody.
Good
night,
everybody.
Adios.